deep. 4 bodies have been pulled out today, in addition to that of the boat's chef, discovered on Monday. The yacht was being used by British tech boss Mike Lynch, celebrating his recent acquittal on fraud charges in the US with family, friends and his lawyer.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Investigators think the boat was hit by a kind of tornado known as a waterspout, but have questions about how it sank so quickly. America is listening to Fox News.
Seems like there's more identity theft in the news every day.
Another major healthcare breach was reported today, resulting in the exposure. Now, 1 in 4 consumers have been a victim of identity.
That's because there are endless places that could accidentally expose you to identity theft, in a breach, or simply by mistake. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Mommy, want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with DayQuil VapoCool. It's DayQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is DayQuil VapoCool.
DayQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
More great weather as we go through our Wednesday afternoon. Doesn't get much better than this in August. Sunny and nice, 79. Tonight, clear skies, a drop through the 70s this evening, 58 for the cool overnight low. Thursday, sunny, still nice, 81 degrees. Friday, sunny, beautiful morning. Warmer Friday afternoon, 90, 92 Saturday, 95 Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Attention Missouri Medicaid members. If you need assistance with daily living, you can receive a free service from Freedom Care in your own home from a loved one. With Freedom Care, you decide who provides your daily care with help preparing meals, bathing, laundry, transportation, and more. A family member or friend that gets paid instantly after every shift. It's all funded by Medicaid and 100% free to you. Call now to check your eligibility. New to Medicaid, the Freedom Care family will guide you through enrollment, making it stress-free for patients and caregivers. With over 5,000 five-star Google reviews, we've perfected at-home care for Medicaid members and caregivers. This service is free to you through Medicaid, and with our InstaPay app, caregivers are paid instantly. So go to freedomcare.com or call 314-557-7915. 314-557-7915. 314-557-7915.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Rosetta Stone is the expert in language learning for more than 30 years. Right now, Eye on Travel listeners can get Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership of 25 languages for 50% off. Visit rosettastone.com/radio today to purchase and learn for life.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio. I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Annie Fry Show. Thank you for tuning in to 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis's home for conservative talk. You know, I was watching the DNC last night. Yesterday, I asked you folks if you were watching it or if you were interested in the highlights. And I think it was about 57% of you were either watching it yourself or interested in the highlights. So I think it's my responsibility here to give you the highlights, to be able to put you in a position where you are aware of what's going on, but to do it in a way that is palatable. I had volleyball last night, volleyball game, and first game of the season, and so I'm doing the coach thing, get home. I think we got home probably around 8:30 or so, eat dinner, and then it's time for me to retire to my quarters where I have to go relegate myself away from my family so I can watch the DNC. I would watch it with them, but they don't want to watch it. The idea of coming home from a long day of school and work and sports and settling into some political talking points at 9 o'clock, not palatable to anybody else in my house. And honestly, not really to me. But it's important that we do pay attention to what the other side is offering, what they're saying. This is their moment to shine, the Democrats' moment to completely make of themselves what they want their message to be. And last night, I went through a little bit of an emotional roller coaster watching the parts that I did consume from the evening. I did not watch J.B. Pritzker speak. I was not there for it, and it was a lot of times I will watch these things, and I'll go, oh, I need to see that, and I'll go back and watch it, and I didn't do it. I couldn't do it. Folks, I have my limits. You do too. But again, like many of you said yesterday, I do consume a lot of this, these types of things through the highlights. Let's first get a highlight here from Senator Bernie Sanders, who spoke at the DNC convention in Chicago.
We need an economy that works for all of us, not just the billionaire class.
Now, do I get this correctly? Who was the next speaker after Bernie Sanders?
I believe that was J.B. Pritzker.
Was he legit the next guy?
Donald Trump thinks that we should trust him on the economy because he claims to be very rich. But take it from an actual billionaire.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yay, billionaires!
Trump
the
is rich in only one thing: stupidity.
What a stupid line. Man, you tried to big league him with your Scrooge McDuck doubloons, and you've said Donald Trump's money is fake and J.B. Pritzker's is real. My whole understanding of how J.B. Pritzker earned his money was by being born into his family. So if you want to talk about generational wealth in the United States of America as a problem, especially when from the Democrat position on the issue, we have a racial disparity in generational wealth. And you have Bernie Sanders up on stage saying, and quote, we need an economy that works for everyone, not just billionaires. And your literal next speaker is like, my billionaire is better than your billionaire. And it's from somebody who didn't build his wealth. It's from somebody who inherited it. Guys, this is too easy. This is way, way, way too easy. But then, of course, it gets a little more deep in the hypocrisy with Michelle Obama.
My mom, in her steady, quiet way, lived out that striving sense of hope every single day of her life. She believed that all children, all people have value, that anyone can succeed if given the opportunity. She and my father didn't aspire to be wealthy. In fact, they were suspicious of folks who took more than they needed. They understood that it wasn't enough for their kids to thrive if everyone else around us was drowning.
Oh, okay. Okay. So Michelle Obama is one of her big sell lines is being suspicious of people who take more than they need, but they've got this guy.
Donald Trump thinks that we should trust him on the economy.
Yeah.
Because he claims to be very rich. But take it from an actual billionaire.
Get off the stage, you hypocrite. Not to mention the fact Donald Trump doesn't think we should trust him on the economy because he's a billionaire. Donald Trump wants us to trust him on the economy because he knows it belongs to us and not big government. Not identifying up and down and left and right every problem that the Democrat Party has created. They show up just in the nick of time to solve only before Election Day. This is what the Democrats do. The Democrats tell you about all of the problems that they identify when it comes time to get elected, but they don't actually solve those problems, because if they solved them, then what would they sell to you the next time around? Do you know how many homes Michelle Obama has? Do you know the value of the homes that Michelle Obama has? Do you understand that Michelle Obama doesn't live a life like you and I live? Michelle Obama does not live paycheck to paycheck. Did she ever understand what it was like to live paycheck to paycheck? I have no idea, probably. Does it matter to me that Michelle Obama has, throughout the course of her career, flourished economically, financially for herself? These people are absolute hypocrites. They want a system that works for them, that they control, that makes you feel like you're on the other side of some line that you will never get across unless you get their help because they're on the other side. Well, they run the system, and then they play the system to stay in the system, and the only way the system works is to make money and to build power off of you. That's the way it works. To have Michelle Obama standing up on stage talking about the people who are struggling in this country, while she is not struggling at all. You go first, Michelle Obama. You give it up first. Lend one of your homes that you built on a beach while you made money off of climate change speeches across the country and the world. Turn that one over to somebody who doesn't have a roof over their head. You go first. But that's not what the Democrats do. The problem is that they're hypocrites. Yes, there are billionaires in the Republican Party. Yes, there are billionaires in the Democrat Party, but only one of these parties is telling you that billionaires are bad while they in fact are that themselves, with absolutely no irony or shame swirling about them. They are cloaked in defense from that because the media laps it up. It makes no sense to me that the media would be so in bed with this type of hypocrisy and this type of gaslighting. I clearly don't understand the media perks from where I sit in this chair on the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk. We clearly aren't being lavished with the whatever it is that makes these people so willfully surrender their journalistic souls to the Democrat Party. So you might say, okay, Annie, yeah, billionaires, whatever. J.B. Pritzker, governor, he's not speaking on any stage that isn't in Chicago during this event. But he gets his time. He gets his moment. He has nothing to offer anybody other than campaign donations, which is how you get on one of those stages. Enter Barack Obama, who is the final speaker of the night. And boy, is he good. Is he very good at what he does? And I'm going to tell you this, too. Michelle Obama made me feel things last night when I was watching her because I felt like she was disgusted by the state of America. Once again, not very proud of this country. She just exudes this dissatisfaction with the idea of America. And you're like, hello, you guys got the chair. You got the seat. You got the Oval Office. It's yours right now. You're talking about people not finding hope and feeling the electricity that is in the air in this room and around the country that we haven't felt for a while. And it sounds like hope. That's what she said. Why do people feel hopeless? Joe Biden is the president. Kamala Harris is the vice president. You're saying that people feel hopeless right now, but there's an electricity in the air? You must be selling it. Because it's not real. It's not genuine. And it's just lathered in gross hypocrisy. Barack Obama comes on, the consummate orator, and I know that people will say, he's not nearly as good of a speaker as people say he is. This dude connects with his audience. He is capable of delivering a message. He is capable, even though he is so far away from understanding currently right now what it's like to live my lifestyle or your lifestyle in the Midwest. I don't even know if he respects it. But when he gets on stage and he starts speaking, he connects to people. He's very good at it. And to deny him that is to not pay attention or to not listen. This is how he started off his speech last night to get the people in the arena going.
The other side knows it's easier to play on people's fears and cynicism, always has been. They will tell you that government is inherently corrupt, that sacrifice and generosity are for suckers. And since the game is rigged, it's okay to take what you want and just look after your own. That's the easy path. We have a different task. Our job is to convince people that democracy can actually deliver.
Here you have Barack Obama on stage, setting the tone for his message, his delivery, in saying that the right, Donald Trump, Republicans, conservatives like maybe you and definitely like me, we're here to make people scared. We're here to make people cynical about government. Well, yeah, I'm a little cynical about government. When the government shows up to say, I'm going to solve your problem, I go, I'm good. I prefer my problem. Just leave it be. Don't touch it. Leave it right where it is. No help needed. No requests made. Slowly back away from the problem, government. But they act as though when we talk about, things like the southern border and about people coming across who are convicted felons. Well, it's only bad, I guess, when Trump is. It doesn't matter if you're murdering people in other countries. Come one, come all. We'll even let you vote. They talk about how the right wants to stoke fear in people's minds. When you point at reality, we are not living in the same reality. We see things so incredibly different right now. And he makes sure that you understand at the beginning of the speech, that other side, they are just there to make you afraid. We don't need to be afraid, but the other side, they hate everything about this. And they want to make sure that if you are on the other side, that you are made to be fearful, that you are made to be villainous, that you are made to be all of these bad things. So he very clearly lays out what he thinks of their political opponents. But then later on, he does the Barack Obama thing, and he says this.
I believe that's what we yearn for. A return to an America where we work together and look out for each other. A restoration of what Lincoln called, on the eve of civil war, our bonds of affection. An America that taps what he called the better angels of our nature. That is what this election is about.
Well, you know what? You just started your speech with demonizing the other side. And then at the end you say, people don't really want division. People don't really want to feel separate from... That's true. Take the last part of your speech, deliver it, and that's a speech for America. I understand it. You're standing in front of the DNC. You're standing in front of the most Democrats that exist. They're all right in front of you. And I don't disrespect that. Yes, you're on national television. Yes, you've got the country watching, but this is for the Democrat Party. This moment in time is to tell the Democrats, this is what we're offering people. And in the same breath that he says what people need to hear about the understanding that we actually have way more in common than we don't. We actually all collectively in our own communities don't really want to be so politically divided from our neighbors. There are things that we're interested in that are way more impactful on our everyday existence than the red and the blue, the Republican and the Democrat, the conservative and the progressive, the Trump and the Harris. Barack Obama identifies that, and he does because it's true. He knows it because it's true, but he doesn't do that until he's completely admonished and derided the entire other side of the aisle and talked about how dangerous Donald Trump will be for this country. After his wife goes on stage right before him and mentions the fact that, you know, Donald Trump doesn't really like them because, oh, by the way, they're black. They happen to be black. They had to throw that out there. Joe Biden earlier this week, the night before, goes on stage and repeats the most obnoxious hoax of a lie, reiterating the original hoax of Donald Trump saying that there were good people on both sides of the Charlottesville issue. Saying to the American people from the stage, Joe Biden delivers the lie that Donald Trump was calling white supremacists good, fine people. It's such an obvious lie. It did not happen. And there is Democrat after Democrat after Democrat who has come out and been like, the Charlottesville thing is not what people made it out to be. It just isn't. And the cherry on top of the whole thing with Joe Biden is him saying, calling out Donald Trump, shaking his fist at the camera, saying that Donald Trump had the nerve in Charlottesville. He says that this is the genesis of his desire to run for president. He said this multiple times. Joe Biden decided to run for president because he saw what happened in Charlottesville. And that Donald Trump was a danger to this country because Donald Trump is a white supremacist. That's what Joe Biden has said repeatedly, and he said again this week. And later in the exact same speech, he talks about protesters outside of the DNC convention that are pro-Hamas, that celebrate October 7th, that are anti-Semitic, Jew-hating reprobates outside of this convention. And Joe Biden has the guts to say into the camera that there are good people on both sides. Folks, the hypocrisy is the only thing that they have. And they're relying on you to not consume the DNC as a whole, to not consume these speeches in their entirety. They want clips. They're playing the soundbite game. They're playing the YouTube short game, the TikTok game, where they can clip 30 seconds of things and put it out there. And if you can say that there are good people protesting in the convention and that clip goes out there, then those people see that and they're like, he's on our side. And then they speak out of, just in the next sentence, they'll speak out of the other side of their mouth and say, the Democrat Party stands by its Jewish people, its Jewish members. And they clip it and they put it out on TikTok and those people see it and they're like, that's our party. But if you look at the context, if you look at the full fabric of what the Democratic Party is, they have nothing. They have no standards. They have no policies. All they care about is themselves. And they prove it every single time they get the opportunity to speak. So I'm here to tell you that having watched the DNC and really taking it in, it's like, you know, when you get into a really hot or a really cold shower at first, you got to brace yourself. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I can kind of acclimate to this. Watching the whole thing in context, these whole speeches in full, I realized that if they had great policies, they'd be talking about them. If they had America at the forefront of their focus, they'd be celebrating it. If they cared about you and your grocery bill or your gas bill or your checking account or your savings account or your credit card bills or the mortgage payment that you can't afford anymore, if they cared about any of these things, they'd be talking about it. But they don't. They never do. They lie about the other side and they lie about their own side. They have nothing. And I think that that's a refreshing message for the Republicans moving forward. That's the upside. We're going to take a quick break. The YouTube live chat poll. There is swirling news right now that maybe even as early as Friday, RFK Jr. may drop out of the race and endorse one of the candidates who's in the race. I'll tell you who that is and what the poll is when we come back. Don't go away.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere.
STS Armory, find them online at sts-armory.com. I want to encourage you to learn a little bit more about the classes that they offer. This is a great gift to give people, a gift certificate, to take one of these courses and make sure you get your conceal and carry license taken care of. Get it renewed. If you want to do a basic firearms training course, you can do that as well at STS Armory. They are interested in responsible gun ownership and making sure that you can do it in a lawful way in the state of Illinois. Yes, you still can, and you need good people to help guide you through the system. That's Katie and Jesse at STS Armory. You can call them at 618-931-GUNS, 618-931-GUNS, and you'll quickly understand why people call STS Armory their store. They're in Pontoon Beach at the corner of Highway 111 and South Drive. It's very simple to get to, right off 270. And if you're looking for the next firearm purchase, your first firearm purchase, however experienced you are, you're going to be able to walk in there and understand that they're going to guide you through the process. Zero pressure, understanding your budget, trying to determine, what your specific needs are and matching you with exactly what you've been seeking out. 618-931-GUNS. Tell them Annie sent you. You can find them online at sts-armory.com.
It is so hot. I mean, it's expected here at times, especially this time of year in St. Louis. But man, when it gets this hot, I've heard the egg farmers are having a serious problem. That's just what I heard. Again, it might be true, it might not. It sounds like it sounds like it probably is true that the chicken farmers are having trouble having the eggs because it's so hot. When the chickens lay the egg, it becomes a baby chick. That's hot. So I can only imagine what it is in your house. Well, I don't have to imagine. I've been in your houses when your air conditioner is not working or when it breaks. So if yours is broken or it's not cooling really good, call me, Bart Inman. One easy number, Missouri and Illinois, the easiest of numbers, 314-293-2600, or on the internet, bartinman.com. Now that is a Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
If you have a problem with the IRS, believe me, it's not going away on its own. The IRS never gives up. They have endless resources, so they control the game. Well, your tax problems can end. I'm attorney Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm, a local tax resolution firm with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. I've handled thousands of IRS cases over the last 15 years. So when you hire me, you won't be speaking long distance or sending money to some TV pitch man that's riddled with consumer complaints. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and I'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it will cost. So call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120. Or go to Lance, DRURYlaw.com. If you have IRS issues, you need a local attorney. You need me, Lance Drury.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I'm embarrassed to say this. I've been using deodorant on my armpits for 30 years, and anytime I noticed odor anywhere else, I thought I needed another shower, I wasn't clean, or I felt like there was something wrong with me. And then my gynecologist told me about Lumi. It's a whole body deodorant for pits, feet, and privates that controls odor anywhere and everywhere on your body. Since Lumi, I never have to worry about body odor ever again, anywhere on my body. And that reassurance is worth every penny.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code SHOWER and get 15% off your first purchase with code SHOWER, like the Lumi Starter Pack, Acidified Body Wash, or new Lumi Plus Sweat Control. That's LUME Deodorant.com, code SHOWER for 15% off your first purchase. With over 200,000 five-star reviews, I am so sure you're going to love it. Or return it for free with Lumi's 60-day money-back guarantee. That's LUME Deodorant.com, code SHOWER to save 15% today.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 55 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Show feedback or topic commentary.
Whiskey Dickerson Annie Fry t-shirt is literally the most comfortable shirt I have ever worn in my entire life.
Let us know by clicking the microphone in the Odyssey app. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We've got Representative Darin LaHood coming on with us in the 1 o'clock hour. He is Illinois' 16th District Congressman, a little bit up north. Great guy. Excited to have him on. He's going to talk to us about the DNC. And, you know, I'm very interested in talking to people who understand, like I do, like we try to convey how wonderful the state of Illinois is and how poorly it's being managed. It's something that's really relatable to people here on the Missouri side of the river because you know the potential that St. Louis has, but it's just like there are people who are committed to driving it into the ground. And you're looking at it and, you know, a lot of people are going, I think this might be a lost cause. But if you care about it, if you love it, you want to fight for it. You want to see it be better. And then to see the Democrat Party descend upon Chicago in celebration of their party and what their party stands for. I mean, if you're from Illinois, you're just like, facepalm, what are they doing? Like, at least put it somewhere else, like maybe in a swing state or something. Maybe the only thing I could think of is they wanted it to be by Wisconsin. But it's just bizarre to me that they would want to plant it there. And when you see the way that the DNC has put themselves into Chicago and how they've managed their presence there, it's just, I mean, the hypocrisy is so frustrating to take in. How much of it, Brad, did you watch last night?
I watched Michelle Obama's speech, and I was listening to Bernie Sanders while I was on the treadmill, and I was like, you know, I can't. I'm already miserable being on this treadmill. I can't listen to him. So I got about maybe 5-10 minutes into his.
Well, I mean, from my understanding was Bernie Sanders kind of chastised both sides of the party a little bit, maybe?
In a way, but like I said, I didn't get much into it because, like, listening to him just go up there with the same old stale lines that he always uses about billionaires being bad and, you know, the thing that really got me was the part of the speech that I heard, and this is where I was like, I'm done with this guy. He talked about how the government fixed COVID, how the government helped people while COVID was bad, how the government did all of these things during COVID, while completely ignoring the fact that it was Democrat governors using their governmental powers to shut the economy down and put those people in the position that they needed to, that they were in, so that they needed bailouts and whatnot. I mean, they created the problem, and he's bragging about beating the problem.
It's the hypocrisy that is so frustrating to take in. Lawrence Jones, who just is really killing it right now in interviews. He's getting great guests, and he does a really good job of spotlighting people and also pressuring people to answer questions.
So respect to you,
Talking
Mr.
to Pete
Secretary, the
Buttigieg.
people that are being killed in places all over the country, they look like me, they don't look like you. And they're upset with the Democratic Party not taking it seriously. You guys sent the cavalry
Not taking
in.
it seriously.
Hold on, let me finish. You guys sent the cavalry. You guys sent the cavalry in for you guys for your protection. But the people of Chicago don't see that on a day-to-day basis. What are you guys going to do to stop the bloodshed in our community?
Lawrence Jones nailing it here. If you were in crime-ridden Chicago, 20-plus people shot last weekend. I think there have been 8 shots so far this week while the DNC has been there. It's just started to be Wednesday. When Chicago, this is just a regular occurrence in this crime-ridden city that had to board itself up so that the DNC could come in and tow all of these protesters and not lose their businesses because of the destruction that was going to beset this entire area. What does the DNC do? These are the people who say defund the police. These are the people who bail out criminals who destroy cities because they're throwing temper tantrums because people like Kamala Harris have incited them to, as she said, these protesters aren't going to stop. And then she says, back during the George Floyd, the summer of love, she says, and they shouldn't. And then she bailed them out. This is the party that does this to cities. It is being done to them. It is an active, aggressive assault on these big cities, and it belongs to the Democrat Party every single time. Every single time. And Lawrence Jones is spot on saying to Pete Buttigieg, listen, you're a hypocrite on this. Your party is a hypocrite on this. You want to defund the police, but you've got police all over this city in walls. You've built, think about this for a second. They've built walls of police. And they won't invest in the police across the country, and they won't build walls to protect the border. But here in the DNC, we know what is really important to the Democrat Party because they show you. They show you with the money that they spend, the donations that come into the DNC. What do they spend it on? They spend it on walls. They spend it on barriers. They spend it on police. And they do it while they plop themselves in the middle of a city that they are destroying, in the moment destroying, that has to board itself up so that it doesn't get destroyed by the other people in the Democrat Party who hate the people inside because they don't support terrorists in the Middle East. Who wants to be a part of this? Lawrence Jones pressuring Pete Buttigieg, and then listen to Pete. So Lawrence Jones is saying here, the hypocrisy is obvious to everybody. The people who are dying in these crime-ridden cities, Lawrence Jones says they look like him. They look like black people. They look like black men. They don't look like Pete Buttigieg. They look like Lawrence Jones. This should be a very important point to Pete Buttigieg, whose party plays first and foremost in identity politics. He's pressuring on him, saying, people can tell who you defend, who you invest to protect, what you invest to protect, and what you don't. People are seeing it right now, and it's strange that the black people in the Chicago community aren't getting the same protections that the high and elite people in the DNC are doing. And then listen to what Pete Buttigieg responds here. Listen to him not answer the question.
And for you guys, for your protection. But the people of Chicago don't see that on a day-to-day basis. What are you guys going to do to stop the bloodshed in our community?
Well, first of all, I was mayor of a city that faced that kind of pain. The toughest part of the job was dealing with gun violence, and the most heartbreaking part of the job was comforting or trying to comfort mothers who just wanted their child back. And the big question, I think, for politics, for policy, for media, is who is going to help them versus who is going to use them.
That's literally the question that Lawrence Jones just asked Pete Buttigieg, who is in the cabinet for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. He's in the cabinet. He is at the top. He has been selected to be as important as you can be in the cabinet in an administration. And he has been asked the question at his party's convention, what are you going to do? And then he recites to Lawrence Jones that it's very important that we ask the important questions. What the hell is that?
The questions she's asking are the exact question any citizen should be asking, which is when you take office.
What do you mean?
Are you going to?
Are you saying that mother is being used?
I'm saying that mother is asking the exact right question.
What the hell is that? Lawrence Jones just asks the most important question that people in Chicago repeatedly are asking themselves while they're existing in the DNC version of Chicago, which is, why do they get all this protection? And when the DNC convention leaves, we go back to our 20 people shot a weekend. Kids being shot in their front yards. Kids being shot while they're laying in their beds by stray bullets in unsafe neighborhoods that were, advocated for a defunding of the police by the most disliked mayor in Chicago's recent modern history. You guys are going to get up and leave. And we're still going to live with the Democrat policies, but not with the Democrat assets that the elites get when they're here. And Pete Buttigieg word vomits a repetition of the question that Lawrence Jones just asks him, and he says, these are important questions that need to be asked. He said it, he repeated it in like 3 separate ways to Lawrence Jones. And I just would like to say to Lawrence Jones, I would like Lawrence Jones to say to Pete Buttigieg, Mr. Secretary, is there a person in your party who can answer that question? Because I'm asking the question right now, and it's clearly not you. They have no answers. They've got no answers. And when you have a black man on a set at Fox News who has been hard on the issues every single time, I've met Lawrence Jones. He came to 97.1 a long time ago when I was on in the evenings with Mark Cox. He was a really nice man then, and I think he was working with The Blaze and with Glenn Beck at the time. He is a hardworking individual. He cares about the issues. He came to Ferguson to learn about what was going on in Ferguson. He is not a sycophant. He is not somebody who gets talking points and rips and reads and repeats. And he's asking Pete Buttigieg this question, a very fair question. And you know it's a fair question because all Pete Buttigieg says is people should be asking these questions. They got nothing. They have nothing. They have nothing, and it's literally killing people. America can do way better than this. Let's take a quick break. The YouTube live chat poll for today. How would an RFK Jr. partnership with Trump impact the election? I said in the last segment that RFK Jr. is talking about potentially stepping out of the race and potentially partnering up with Donald Trump. Does that help Trump? Does that help Harris, or is there no impact? Need to know what you think on the Annie Fry YouTube live chat. You go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel and you can see us there. Chris says it would help tremendously in her opinion. I'm assuming she says Trump, but she doesn't specify there. Joe says minimal impact, but I'll take any help we can get. Might influence smart independence. What do you think? Are you an RFK Jr. supporter? How would it affect your vote? We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
RulerFoods.com. Saving on your groceries is a smart move because you're repeatedly making these purchases. Don't spend any more money than you have on the great products that you love. You're going to be able to get those at Ruler Foods. You've passed the store multiple times. You've probably seen it and gone, oh, hey, Annie talks about Ruler Foods. Stop, turn, go park in the parking lot, walk in the store, and check it out. You don't even have to buy anything, but just learn about it. You will be so glad you did. They have the name brands that you love. They have Kroger brands at Ruler Foods prices. We have a ton of Kroger products in our pantry right now. Through August 31st, they're giving back as well. Ruler Foods is accepting donations of jars of peanut butter for local food banks. This is an incredible way to help stock these pantries. This is where conservatives can step in and make a difference and, help put stuff on shelves for pantries as we get into the cooler months as they're coming up. Buy some peanut butter at Ruler Foods. That's what you do. You've never gone to Ruler Foods before. You don't have your grocery list with you right now. You're going to stop by Ruler Foods just to check it out, buy one jar of Kroger brand peanut butter, put it in the bucket, and leave. And then I want to know what you thought about your Ruler Foods experience. You can also fill a grocery cart full of your things as well, but start with the peanut butter and make a difference. RulerFoods.com.
When you have Rhino Shield on your house, it does a couple of things for you. It beautifies the house, and it protects it from the harshest elements. And boy, do we see those here in the greater St. Louis area. You get instant curb appeal. It will stick to anything. Rhino Shield is the answer, no matter whether you're painting a home or a church or a business or a condo, because it's 100% waterproof. It takes care of the outdoor maintenance on whatever is on the outside of your home. the brick, the block, aluminum, steel, stucco. They can put this on with the 2 to 3 coat process. They're there about a week, and they do a great job. A lot of businesses have done it in the area. Several Firestones have done that. Vantage Credit Union over the years, Harlan Packaging down in DeSoto. Call Darin today and schedule your free estimate. 877-25-RHINO, easy to remember phone number, or go online today at 877-25-RHINO.com.
Surprise!
Surprise!
You know, surprise parties, they can be fun, right? Well, financial surprises, not so much, especially when you're retired, like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you think you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions and schedule a retirement double check. Marvin and his team have been helping families plan for retirement for more than 15 years. Call 314-373-1598 to schedule your retirement double check with Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions. That's 314-373-1598. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Give Marvin and the team a call, 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and in Illinois.
I can see clearly now thanks to the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and introducing Samuel Berry. You can too. Call 314-966-5000 or check out youridoc.com. That's youridoc.com.
The YouTube live chat poll today, how would an RFK Jr. partnership with Trump impact the election? Would it help Trump? Would it help Harris? Or would it have no impact? That is, of course, some possible breaking news that we may have to cover this week, but we're just kind of seeing, like, where would you land if that did happen? 1247. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Tucker Carlson is paying Missouri a visit, and we're inviting you to join us to see him for free on September 12th at T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. Tickets are on sale now, but you can register for a chance to win online at 971talk.com now until August 30th.
I think it's so cute, and I think it's so sweet how you let your friends encourage you to try and talk to me. But let me stop you
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
My name is no, my sign is no, my number is no. You need to let it go. You need to let it go.
Wiggins!
Oh,
Wiggins!
No.
No? All right, I won't then. What do you guys want to do instead? This is 6 signs you
Want
need
to get back
say.
to whether or not you're a scrub?
No.
No?
No. This is 6 signs you need to say no more.
Oh, no.
I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of built-in jokes.
6 what?
6 signs
that
you need to say no more.
So you might be a yes man.
Or a yes woman.
Or whatever.
And
we're cool with that.
You need to be able to just, flex that no a little bit more.
I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that I am pretty good at saying no.
Yeah, I was looking for things that I thought, like, oh, this would be a pretty good discussion. This doesn't seem to apply to you as much, but it does apply to me.
Okay.
And the crazy thing is, I was reading through this article and looking at the bullet points. I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. And then I read the example that they gave, and it's about a fictional woman named Annie. And I'm like, well, we got to do this then.
Is this really about you? Is your alter ego a fictional woman named Annie?
I cannot say, because that would defeat the purpose of having the alter ego.
I'm going to add, though, that as somebody who feels comfortable saying no, I practiced it. I kind of met a point in my life where I had the opportunity to rearrange a lot of things. And so the position that I was in to say yes to everything all the time, those circumstances changed, and I wasn't in that place anymore. And in the new place, I just said no.
How did you practice it? Did you stand in the mirror, point at it yourself?
No.
Good job. Let me read a little bit from this article. Annie, I kid you not. This is just what
Fictional
it says.
Annie.
Yeah. Annie constantly feels overwhelmed by all she has to do. There are so many competing demands on her time.
Yeah.
Family obligations, social invitations,
Yeah.
work deadlines, household chores, community events she'd like to attend, and the ever-elusive self-care. She hates to disappoint people.
Kind of rude.
Yeah, she hates to disappoint people. Is
You
that
can
you?
tell that she just really doesn't get around to self-care.
Her hair is always frazzled.
It's that deodorant.
She smells. She needs Lumi. She hates to disappoint people. So even though she's stretched too thin already, she finds herself saying yes to every request, need, and invitation. Now, that's not you, but that is a lot of people have trouble with this.
Yeah.
My wife has been in the past one of these people. We've had these discussions. And she
Boy,
ends
is
up,
it freeing when you get over the hump and you're like, no.
and we're there.
Oh, yeah.
It's great.
It's like, no, bye.
But it's just by necessity.
Can I donate some money?
It
I don't
wasn't
even have
through,
money.
It wasn't
I'll
through
give it to you,
terrific
though.
practice. It was just, I don't have any time or anything else to give.
Yes.
So no.
Yes, I'd give it to you if I had it.
It says that you may end up feeling guilty and exhausted when you can't bring your A game to everything that you're committed to. Fictional Annie. And then it asks, can you relate
Just call her Fanny.
to fictional Fanny? Perhaps
Fanny.
you feel too overcommitted, stressed, and like there's never enough time. Are you missing the signs that you need to say no more often?
Well, the thing is that you will empty out, and then you'll go into a deficit, and that deficit falls on somebody. And what I determined about 7 years ago is that it does not fall on my children.
Mm-hmm.
And it shouldn't fall. My husband and I you can take some blows, but it doesn't fall on your family. And if it's got to fall, it's going to fall on someone, you just don't let it fall on them. I'll let it fall on me myself before I'll let it fall on my family. So if I'm empty and I got nothing left to give, something else, like I'm sorry that that I'm not able to do it, but I can't.
But have you ever really struggled with this?
Yes.
Really?
Majorly.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait, I mean, if you've ever given a lot of yourself to something and then that thing that you've given yourself to, like a community organization, maybe it's a job or something you volunteered at or a church or something like that. I mean, I've watched people in like PTA or PTL or whatever the school groups are, especially in a Lutheran school. I've watched the most servant-hearted people give everything they can, and by the time they're like supposed to be done with the school, they can't get away from it fast enough because you just give until you got nothing left, and then people are like, "But why aren't you doing this?" It's like, I'm done. Bye.
Yeah, it's interesting because we joined a new church right at the same time as we had our first kids. So we've never really been outside of this church without having kids. And the whole church, it was like 10 families when it started. And one of the things I've heard, not just there, but elsewhere, is that in a church environment, I'm not making this just about church, but it's a good example, that 10% of the congregation does 90% of the work.
Yes. I would even, this is a much longer conversation than we have left here, but we can continue it. But I almost would say 10% is high.
Yeah, I would.
It's like taxes.
Yeah, and so when it was nice because that was kind of talked about right when we were starting this very small church at the time, which is now very big, that they make service part of your attendance. Like you don't have to serve everywhere. Just do a little bit so that it's not falling on just the most committed people. And we've grown, I think, tremendously because of that philosophy, because we're sharing the load. Now, we also probably have not said no enough, those of us who are really invested. But I like that this article goes into why it's hard to say no. And you can tell me if you identify with any of these. You want to be liked.
I don't really care about that anymore.
I paused on that one because I knew. I was just waiting.
I mean, no, well, let me put it this way. I want to be, but I don't need to be.
Sure.
Which there's the delineation.
It's a big difference.
I'm not out to make people mad at me. I don't want to not be liked, but I don't want to be liked more than I want to leave my family hanging.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, you stretch thin, so something's got to give.
I've been trying to get stretched thin.
I'm actually doing a decent job.
You're standing on your toes.
I'm not trying to get taller. Just trying to lose a little gut.
You should try it.
You want to help all the time. You want to be easygoing or agreeable. You don't want to upset or offend anyone. you feel unsure about your priorities, or you feel guilty and think you should always put others before yourself. That's all very, very common.
Yeah. But, I mean, you can say no and still do those things.
You just have to apportion yourself properly.
And if you're around people who are making you feel guilty for saying no, they're bad people.
Well, but you may feel guilt sometimes, and people don't even intend for it either.
Yeah.
You just feel that way because I'm letting somebody down. They asked, I can't do it.
You gotta let that go.
Gotta let it go. A couple signs that you need to say no more often. You're exhausted, you're overworked, you don't have time. The quality of your work is deteriorating, and you're unfulfilled. Maybe you feel angry or resentful, and your health is suffering. That would be extreme.
Yeah.
That would be extreme.
But it happens.
So if you are in this position, like fictional Annie was.
Fanny,
fictional Annie. Then maybe you need to just consider saying no more.
Well, and I will add to that too, though, that if you have to be, in order for me to be fully okay with saying no, I have to know that I don't have it to give. It's not like, oh, I'm cool with saying no, and I go home and watch movies and sit by myself and just serve myself the whole time. If I do have the time I give a lot of my time. I volunteer and give a lot of my time. But there's a limit to that. And you also have to, I think the hardest thing for me to do, and I've got 4 kids, they're in a million different things, to understand that I need family time outside of all the obligations, and that amount of time that I have left in their childhood to do that is so small that I'm not going to regret missing it. I'm just not going to. And I encourage you to prioritize yourself in the same way. I'm happy to hear that your wife is on the other side of that. It's harder for women than men.
It has taken a while too, but I think she's getting there.
Is there more to this?
There can be.
All right. Stick around. Let's talk to Darin LaHood when we come back.
Outdoor Living Redefined, brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design, your trusted partner in crafting stunning decks, inviting screened rooms, and elegant porch overhangs. Imagine enjoying a crisp morning coffee on your beautifully designed deck, or hosting gatherings in a spacious screened room. Lakeside turns your vision into reality. Our skilled craftsmen use top-notch materials to create spaces that stand up to the elements and stand out in style. Elevate your lifestyle with Lakeside's outdoor living expertise. Visit our showroom or call Lakeside Renovation and Design today.
Del Walmsley and the Wealth Cycle.
This is the wealth cycle that I've taught for 30 years. Buy one house, 10 houses, an apartment, 2 apartments, 8, 20, 500 units, 1,000 units, 2,000, 5,000 units. And as you keep putting the money and the profits back in, you become one of those rich people. And much quicker than you'd even believe.
Learn Dell's Wealth Cycle at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Use promo code 2024. Save 60%. Code 2024. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com.
Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan. It's just a phone call or a text message away for you to be on the path to a much better financial situation with your mortgage. It's the biggest bill that you pay. Now listen, if you have gotten a mortgage in the last, I'm just going to say 2 years, you're going to want to contact Stewie and see if you can get yourself a better circumstance. If you can lower, rates have come down now. I think they're at an all-time low for the last 12 months at minimum. And if you can secure a refinance on your mortgage from the higher mortgage rates that we've been experiencing, which suck, but that's the way it is. If you can lower that rate, your payment monthly is going to go down. That's more money, more of your money in your checking account to pay for other bills. Or maybe, I don't know, what's crazy, to save it and put it aside for yourself. Stewie can help you with that. He'll walk you through everything. And when you use the Bagel Loan, you pay $0 in closing costs. It's not going to cost you anything to refinance. 314-324-4440, NMLS number 226715.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This hasn't happened since the Trump assassination attempt. On Lisa Brady, Fox News. The former president holding an outdoor rally with a podium now surrounded by bulletproof glass. He's in Asheboro, North Carolina, where running mate J.D. Vance just spoke first.
We have got a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to re-elect a man who's proven he's too big for the deep state bureaucracy. He's too tough for the tyrants all over the world, he was too strong even for an assassin's bullet.
Senator Vance, who served in the Marines, also calling Vice President Harris's running mate Tim Walz her stolen valor sidekick, as other Republican lawmakers also criticized some of Walz's past comments about his military service.
50 Republican lawmakers with military experience signing a letter condemning the Democratic nominee for vice president and urging him to come clean, saying, quote, "To be blunt, when you falsely claim military service that did not happen and abandon your post, you diminish the real sacrifices made by veterans who did serve in combat." The letter referencing past comments from Minnesota Governor Tim Walz claiming he carried a weapon of war in war despite not serving in a combat zone, along with his decision to leave the National Guard months before his unit deployed overseas.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz in Washington. Walz served for 24 years in the Army National Guard. One progressive veterans group accusing 29 of the Republicans who signed that letter of falsely claiming they retired from military service. Less hiring in the U.S. than first thought for the year ending in March.
This basically says the government overestimated the amount of people working by 818,000 over the past 12 months.
The biggest revision in 15 years.
These revisions show that Bidenomics maybe didn't create as many jobs as first thought, averaging now, in fact, 174,000 per month over the past year rather than more than 200,000.
Fox Business's Edward Lawrence at the White House. America is listening to Fox News.
Seems like there's more identity theft in the news every day.
Another major healthcare breach was reported today, resulting in the exposure of 1 in 4 consumers have been a victim of identity.
That's because there are endless places that could accidentally expose you to identity theft, in a breach, or simply by mistake. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
You okay?
Sorry, I can't sleep with this cough.
Sounds like you need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with NyQuil VapoCool. It's NyQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
So you ready to get some sleep? Thank you, NyQuil VapoCool.
NyQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing nighttime coughing, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
More great weather as we go through our Wednesday afternoon. Doesn't get much better than this in August. Sunny and nice, 79. Tonight, clear skies, a drop through the 70s this evening, 58 for the cool overnight low. Thursday, sunny, still nice, 81 degrees. Friday, sunny, beautiful morning. Warmer Friday afternoon, 90, 92 Saturday, 95 Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Diamond Shop in Clayton. Oh, these are great people, but it's also wonderful products for you to shop through when you are looking to buy a fine piece of jewelry. I'm talking about watches, necklaces, beautiful earrings, diamond engagement rings, and wedding bands. Whatever you are seeking out, you are going to find it at the Diamond Shop. If they don't have exactly what you want, or if you have an incredibly unique idea in your mind already, they do custom-made jewelry. I have a custom-made necklace from the Diamond Shop, and I cherish it. It is kind of like a sideways leaning cross with a diamond in the center of it, small little diamond, and paper clip necklace chain. It's beautiful. My husband worked on it with Tom to give me something that was specifically mine and unique to me, and I really am grateful for that experience, that I have something that they have put their thought and their mind and their energy into that was just specifically for me. I really appreciate that. And it's beautiful. In August, they have 30% off all in-stock jewelry throughout the course of the entire month. And they have 40% off all Peridot jewelry all month long. So stop by the Diamond Shop in Clayton and see what they have for you. And a reminder, if you go online to their website, you can become a VIP and save 10% on most purchases. Online at thediamondshop.net.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility in this election year? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 38 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Just imagine being walked all over for 36 years. Who would do that? The great customers of Reinhold Flooring, that's who. For over 3.5 decades, Reinhold Flooring has been the mecca for carpet, hardwood, vinyl, laminate, and area rugs. Reinhold Flooring is customer-driven with a focus on top-quality products and installations from the best team in the business. So come on in and walk all over your next flooring at Reinhold Flooring. Visit them at 5429 Telegraph Road in St. Louis or online at reinholdflooring.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
You entrusted a nursing home with the care of a loved one, but they violated that trust. If your family member has been the victim of nursing home neglect, call Onder Law at 844-BED-SORE.
Join us for Midwest WINGFEST in Fairview Heights Labor Day weekend. Wings, drinks, and music, all to benefit combat wounded soldiers. A huge variety of food and music. It's all in Fairview Heights. Info at MidwestWingFest.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
In all these speeches, as good as they were, is that she's in the White House right now. Democrats have controlled the White House for 12 of the last 16 years. And for all of the talk about division and the problems in the country and people are hurting, Democrats have mostly controlled this country. Trump had it for 4. The Obamas and Biden had it for the rest of the time. And somehow, it's still all Trump's fault, and somehow she hasn't been at the center of it. So to me, that's still the glaring hole in this campaign that hasn't yet been solved at the convention. How do you explain all of the problems that will be solved by the person who is currently in there for the last 3.5 years, who is supposed to already be working on solving it?
Scott Jennings on CNN talking about the conundrum that the Democrats have at this convention, located in Chicago, of course, trying to say, if we're talking about hope being reignited into American voters right now, why were they feeling hopeless like yesterday or maybe even a month ago when Kamala Harris wasn't the coronated person to take the nomination for the Democrat Party? And what is the significance of this existing in a beautiful city like Chicago that has been ruined by Democratic policies? Wanted to get our friend on here, Congressman Darin LaHood. Welcome back to the show. Congressman, thank you for being here today.
Annie, great to be with you and your listeners.
Well, we appreciate you. You are the representative for Illinois 16th District. A lot of people know the Peoria area. I'll be in Peoria, I think, in October for a volleyball tournament. And, when I think about Chicago, just a little bit further north from Peoria from where we are, I think that it's kind of a clarion call for voters right now to look at what these sustained far leftist progressive policies will do to a city. Over and over and over again, you continue to choose this type of leadership. This is what the city ends up looking like, even though it should be one of the best places in the nation. I think that's what a Kamala Harris presidency will do in our federal government.
Well, Annie, there's no doubt about it. Chicago is a poster child for what happens with really terrible policy in our nation. And it is ground zero for what's gone wrong with the progressive, radical, really anti-American policies that's been put in place by our mayor, who's a disaster, Mayor Brandon Johnston, and our governor, J.B. Pritzker. You look at our crime rate. We're going to have a record amount of murders in Chicago this year. You look at our out-migration of people leaving Illinois. We lead the nation in people wanting to leave Illinois because of high taxes, because of no support for our police. You look at the fact that our business climate is not good at all. We just had another company, Morton Salt, announce they're leaving Chicago. So the media is never going to tell you any of this. But when you think about what Kamala Harris and Biden stand for, it's really doubling down on what's wrong with Illinois. And frankly, that's not the direction I want to go. I love Illinois. I'm a fourth-generation Illinoisan. I'm raising my family here. We have really good people in the state. But as you know, Andy, elections have consequences. And Chicago and Illinois is a poster child for what's wrong with the current trajectory of this country under a Biden-Harris leadership.
You're right. You're 100% right. And, I too have been Illinois my whole life, generationally so. Family from a generational farm. Met a man who I married who his family has a generational farm. And this soil is great. And this land is celebrated worldwide for what it has to offer. And it just seems like the Democrat policies that grab a hold of it, they so quickly chase people away. And it's in the numbers. It's in the statistics. I'm wondering what your hope is for a state like Illinois to try to right the ship, and for a country, should they choose Kamala Harris in this next election. I mean, how far does it get before it's too far gone?
Well, it's interesting. In your opening, you played that important clip from Scott Jennings on CNN. I mean, when you watch this Democrat convention in Chicago, you'd never think Kamala Harris had been the vice president for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
You'd think she's a first-time candidate. I mean, that's what's crazy. She's been in office for almost 4 years now and has been complicit and the co-chair of the Biden disastrous policies that have been put in place. When I listened to President Obama and Michelle Obama last night, they have very good oratory skills. They can give a good speech. But I never heard them talk once about the 9 million people that have been streaming across our border illegally. Heard nothing about how inflation has ravaged low-income and poor people in the middle class. You heard nothing about the murder rate in Chicago. Nothing about that. And so it's almost like the Twilight Zone that we're watching a convention and they're not taking ownership. They're coming up with solutions for problems they created.
Yes. And that's the cycle, because they sell you the solution every election cycle and people go, okay, well, they see me, they identify my problem. However, it doesn't really feel, at least in my experience of what I've been consuming through social media, which is always curated, so I understand that. It's all anecdotal. But people aren't really buying the Kamala Harris sell as much as I think that they need them to be buying that sell. Are people waking up to the reality that, the Harris ticket is like the Biden, it's the same thing as the Biden administration, maybe a little bit more progressively worse, and that you can't talk me out of understanding what my checking account says or what my bills say or the gas pump or the grocery bill? I mean, do people understand their own reality more than they're being persuaded by the Democrats to believe an alternate reality?
Well, like I said before, people have to understand that elections have consequences, and you just have to look at the bad policies over the last 4 years and what they've done to people's pocketbooks. But make no mistake about it, elections are about the future, and we have an obligation and responsibility as conservative Republicans to make sure that President Trump wins. Now, what does that mean? It means, we have to be focused. We have to be disciplined. We have to stick to the issues. I've recommended we stay away from the insults and racial politics and just focus on the issues, because I think we have plenty of ammunition there to take them on. And you're right, Annie, that people are not educated on Kamala Harris. It's amazing how many people didn't even know she was vice president. And so, after Labor Day is going to be the important time where we really have to get people focused. And I think when you do the side by side and you talk about how people's lives are much different today and worse off than they were during the Trump administration, but that takes discipline. That takes being focused. It takes a commitment to do that. And I have all the confidence in the world that we can do that. But it's going to take some work to do that. And make no mistake about it, this is going to be a close election. This is not Joe Biden we're running against, and we have to focus on her and her terrible record.
I want to key in a little bit on J.B. Pritzker and Mayor Johnson and how they've got, Democrat policies on top of Democrat policies squarely focusing on Chicago there, where the Democrats said, this is where we want to stake our claim. We want to put it in Chicago. Then they board everything up. They surround their convention with police officers they want to defend. They build walls to keep people out of a place that they want to protect. All things they won't do for the American people, but they will, through the donations from elitist groups, they'll give themselves those protections. I'm just wondering why Brandon Johnson is okay with all of these walls and all of this investment in law enforcement in his city when he won't invest in that for his own people who pay those taxes.
Well, that's spot on. And there's many contrasts and contradictory policies being put in place by Mayor Johnson. He has decimated the police. If you talk to any police officer in Chicago, no one wants to work there anymore because of what they've done to the city and really dehumanizing our police force there. But here's what Illinois is known for now. We're known because of the policies of J.B. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson. And we're known for cannabis. That's what we thrive in, is cannabis and abortion on demand. In the meantime, all the other states around us are thriving and prospering because, again, of good public policy in place on low taxes, taking care of the pension system, creating a good business climate. And Illinois is now a sanctuary state. They love bragging about being a sanctuary state. This year, J.B. Pritzker will spend $800 million of state taxpayer money to fund illegal migrants, for housing, for education, for food. It is absolutely ridiculous. I think people are waking up, but this is going to be important that we remind people of it.
We're speaking with Congressman Darin LaHood. He is Illinois' 16th District Representative from the Peoria area. He's also a member of the Ways and Means Committee and the House Intel Committee and the Select Committee on the CCP. Congressman, I hear, you've chosen to run and represent people in Illinois. I live in Illinois, of course. I work in St. Louis, Missouri. I get asked all the time, like, Annie, why are you still there? And I always say it's my home and it's worth fighting for, and I have every intention of continuing to do that. Is Illinois, like, in your mind, is it worth fighting for, or are we just trying to hold on to what we got until it's completely gone?
No, absolutely. It's worth fighting for. I have confidence in the people that I represent. But people are going to wake up to the change that we need in the state. There's still a lot of good people that care deeply about the state that are in Illinois. And then you mentioned at the beginning, we have some of the most fertile farmland in the entire world. We got a great transportation system. We have wonderful educational system throughout the state of Illinois. We have good, hardworking people. We've had terrible governance. And when you couple that with J.B. Pritzker, who spent $160 million his first race, $140 million his second race, he basically bought the governorship in Illinois. But I think that's going to change in 2026. We're going to have an opportunity to put up a good candidate for governor, good candidate for U.S. Senate in 26. And I think we can overcome these things. And, in the area that I represent, we are the same as Indiana or Iowa or Missouri, where they've elected good Republicans in those states. So I remain hopeful that we can turn it around in Illinois.
What does it look like for you? Like, what needs to be offered to the voters as an alternative to the J.B. Pritzker Democrat way for Illinoisans to consider collectively an alternative? Because I think that right now that's the same position that a lot of voters across the country are in, whether they're going to, pull the lever for Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. It's like, what do we have to offer in our state that will get enough people to say, we're not doing this anymore, we're willing to try something else?
Well, I think it's education first and foremost. It's hard to articulate what we believe in as Republicans. It's opportunity, it's freedom, it's the ability to prosper and do well. And Democrats offer free things, right? I just mentioned $800 million to illegal immigrants. Free things are easier to justify when you're a Democrat. And we have to do a better job in articulating and educating members and advocating what freedom, what opportunity means, how you can prosper and do well under Republican principles. I think we have some really good young rising stars in our Republican Party, whether that's Elise Stefanik, my colleague, whether it's Byron Donald, young people in our party that stand for our principles. I think we have to get out and educate people more and explain to people more what we believe in as Republicans. I think and we got a good deep bench in Illinois of rising young conservatives that I think will be very impactful in our next election. But it takes hard work, and you got to overcome the billionaire dollars that J.B. Pritzker has put in. But I have all the confidence that we can do that in this next election cycle.
I appreciate you, Congressman, for being with us and for shining a light on it. And I always think it's important to remember the positivity, the asset that Chicago is to the state of Illinois, and how much destruction has been put upon it by the Democrat policies. The city is great, and it needs to be made to be great again. And you are absolutely right. I'm going to share the article that you wrote, the op-ed that you wrote on this for the Washington Reporter, because you squarely focus how we can make things better again, but alert people to the problems that are right in front of us right now that we can handle. And we appreciate you being on with us today.
Yep. Amen. Thanks, Annie. Look forward to coming back on soon.
Yes, please do. We would love to have you. Congressman Darin LaHood, representing Illinois' 16th District. Up in Peoria, central Illinois, some might say northern Illinois, depends on where you draw the line. Everybody draws it differently, and you can tell where they're from in Illinois by how they identify the different locations in Illinois. Northern Illinois, southern Illinois, central Illinois, Chicago. Great to have him on the show to speak with us today. We are going to take a quick break, and we're going to speak next with Swayze Liebel. She's the Midwest Regional Director at Susan B. Anthony, SBAProlife.org. And we're going to talk about Missouri. We're going to talk about abortion. We're going to talk about the politics surrounding it and hear what Sue has to say about it when we come back. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
So I'm going out tonight in my red high heels. I'm gonna call up that old boyfriend you said still has it back from me.
MidwestWingFest.com. Have you gotten your tickets yet? I hope you have. We need to show up in force for this amazing cause. And you're benefiting something fantastic, but you're having a great time. It's like going to your, late summer little festival celebration in your community right there in Fairview Heights and St. Clair Square by Dillard's. It's coming up. It's Labor Day weekend, Friday and Saturday of Labor Day weekend, August 30th, 31st. When you go to MidwestWingFest.com, you are going to see all of the details that you need to see in order to get your tickets reserved. When you participate, $5 for patrons 12 and over, you are going to be supporting this benefit for combat wounded soldiers and families of local fallen heroes. This is a local thing. This entire event was put together by passionate people who want to give back to the people who have given us so much, if not all. What a great event to participate in this coming Labor Day weekend. Chicken wings, music, bounce houses, a whole kid play area, an opportunity to go out and honor those heroes among our own communities, law enforcement, military, first responders, everything. It's the place to be. Labor Day weekend. All you need to know, plus your ability to access those tickets, get them fast. Check out the VIP event at MidwestWingFest.com.
Infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. That's 314-332-2885.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated. Forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated. Is yours? Did you know that there's an R value associated with insulation? To find out your R value or for a free insulation estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
United States Senator Eric Schmidt.
JD is appealing to working class voters, and that's going to matter a lot in a place like Pennsylvania, which is a very important state with all those electoral votes.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
This is The Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
I used to roll the dice, feel the fear in my enemy's eyes, listen as the crowd would sing.
And now he intends to pass a nationwide abortion ban to ban access to fundamental health care in every state.
That's what Kamala Harris has said about Donald Trump, and that's actually not at all what Donald Trump has said that he is going to do. That is a wholehearted lie. But right now, Missouri is acting in trying to expand access to abortion. And you might have heard about this amendment. Missouri's all-trimester abortion amendment makes the ballot. That's what the Susan B. Anthony pro-life organization says. And we wanted to talk to them about it and find out what they think about this amendment where Missouri will have the opportunity to weigh in. We're speaking now with Swayze Liebel. She's the Midwest Regional Director with Susan B. Anthony, and she's on with us today. Sue, thank you for being with us today. It's good to talk to you.
Hey, thank you for having me. Great to be here.
Well, you're welcome. And, I wanted to give you the opportunity to tell Missourians what kind of choice that they are being given on this ballot coming up in as plain speak as you can muster.
Well, the choice that couldn't be more clear, the distinction between what Missouri law is currently, what Missourians have voted on their elected officials and supported pro-life laws versus this amendment. This amendment would go the entire opposite direction. And I don't mean entire, I mean extremely. And it may be what I'm about to say, people don't even really believe I'm telling the truth, but it would end thousands of lives, babies, unborn children who have heartbeats, feel pain even at the later stages, would all lose their lives. This is, it goes far beyond even Roe versus Wade. Remember those days? It would establish unlimited abortion, even in the second and third trimester, when, by the way, babies can feel that happening to themselves. It would eliminate parental rights. Now, I can back all these things up. We can talk about these things, unpack them if you want. And it would also remove currently the health and safety requirements for women, that they get informed consent, that a doctor would do an abortion. That would be removed. So any healthcare professional could do it. She wouldn't get any materials. It's just shocking how far this amendment would go. It also includes boys getting transgendered medicine or procedures or things like that, again, with no parental consent.
What is the question? So this is going to be on the ballot. When I understand that you're saying that should it pass, that these are the things that will be entered into
Mhm.
the reality for Missourians. What is the question on the ballot asking? Like how are they wording it for voters to consume?
Well, it's a little long, but I'd be happy to read it to you.
Yeah, I'd be happy to hear it.
All right. It actually shows, and this is actually, if you go to Mo Stands with Women, MO, Missouri, mostandswithwomen.org, they have done a mock-up of this question and what it really means. But let me read it to you. It goes into the Constitution of your state, not just a law, but the actual Constitution, Section A, Article 1, which is the Bill of Rights. This section would be known as the Right to Reproductive Freedom Initiative. Section 2, the government shall not deny or infringe upon a person's fundamental right to reproductive freedom, which is the right to make and carry out decisions about all matters relating to reproductive health care, including but not limited to prenatal, childbirth, postpartum care, birth control, abortion care, etc. That not limited to is the key there.
Yeah.
You know, it's always in the words, right?
Sure.
Careful what you're reading. So it's not going to infringe upon a person's fundamental right. So a child is a person. A boy is a person. It's not just about women and abortion. And then it's not limited to. So that could include gender procedures and things like that. Also, it does not allow the government or any denial, interference, delay, or restriction of the right to reproductive freedom. So what that really means, and it's for this purposes, a governmental interest is compelling only if it's for the purpose, has a limited effect of improving or maintaining the person's health. All that really means is that existing pro-life laws would be invalidated. So all the laws that, Missouri is, in fact, quite a pro-life state, has been a leader in protecting lives. And by the way, sometimes protecting lives also means protecting women and their health and their safety too, and helping women find better choices and a better path forward than abortion. It's not always, it's not healthcare, and it's not always the best way to go.
Sue Liebel speaking with us right now. She's the Midwest Regional Director at Susan B. Anthony. I was going to ask you, do you know the organizations who have most wholly funded this movement, this amendment? Like, do you know where the money is coming from to make this a success?
Well, I'm not sure I know exactly where the money comes from in Missouri, but we've seen this, of course, in other states across the country: Ohio, Michigan, Kansas. There have been these very similarly worded, very same amendments in other states. And we know that they have been funded by George Soros and other, liberal billionaires. Also, Planned Parenthood and the ACLU is behind this. In fact, in Missouri, they didn't even support Jamie Corley's original questions because they didn't go far enough. And so,
are these Missouri groups? Are these Missouri-centered groups that want to see this, or is this outside money?
Well, both. Missouri has a Planned Parenthood, has an ACLU, but this is a national plan. This is a national strategy, and Missouri, and they're going after the red states. So they're going after states that are pretty pro-life, that have limited abortion in some way, or had health and safety restrictions for women's safety in some way in their states. And so this is the plan, is to go and invalidate all of those state laws because they put a right to abortion into the Constitution. It's hard for lots of us to remember our high school government class or whatever, the branches of government, and what is a constitution versus a law. Most of us don't remember that sort of thing. But the Constitution is the most fundamental and strongest document you have. And to go straight for the Constitution and bypass all of the laws that your state has done, and those laws were put into place by people that you elected. Mm-hmm. And so they're trying to bypass all of that, especially in pro-life or more conservative states.
They've been successful too, which is the scary thing for me. Is they have found ways with these amendments a lot in the marketing of the amendment leading up to the election and the
Yes.
way the wording
Mhm.
is put on the ballot. In red states and conservative places, these amendments have gone the way of aggressively pro-abortion hopefuls. I'm wondering how you feel about Missouri's chances of defending life this November with ultimately the results of this amendment.
Well, that is a great question, and I'm so glad you asked it because I came today to bring a cautionary tale to your listeners. We've seen this in other states. First of all, a lot of people don't really realize what abortion is and how far it's gone in America. So in a lot of those states that you were talking about, they go up on television. Pretty soon you're going to see those television ads.
Yep.
Brace yourself. Here you go. And they're going to say that women won't get the care they need, or that women won't get, their health will be in jeopardy, or whatnot. And it's just not true. It's actually a lie. Under current Missouri law, all of the health care for women who have troubled pregnancies or have issues, that's the irony is that is, in fact, health care. Abortion is a procedure that terminates the life of the child, period.
Yeah.
And so they conflate the two in order to confuse. Also, we've seen across the country that voters don't really believe that if this passes, come on, third trimester abortions, really, when my daughter's, 30 weeks pregnant, yes, in fact, that is a yes. The amendment mentions the word viability, but viability is when a baby can live outside of the womb, maybe in the NICU, but is able to survive. But the other wording in the question takes that all out and would allow the doctor, who in this case is going to make money on that abortion, to make the decision to do an abortion on an older baby. So we know from these other states that a lot of people didn't believe that actually happens, and it does, or that parents would lose their right to, help their child make these important life-changing decisions, and they will. In fact, we know in Michigan and Ohio, since those have passed, like in Michigan, for example, the legislature then, subsequent to that, went ahead and deleted their ban on partial birth abortion. Governor Whitmer, who is a very far left she's not quite as extreme as Kamala Harris, but pretty much she signed a bill to remove partial birth abortion ban. So you also safety requirements for women, regulating clinics, inspecting clinics for the health purposes and cleanliness and things like that. The legislature also tried to undo the 24-hour waiting period and taxpayer funding, but it didn't. It got fumbled. They fumbled the ball. They'll be back. And so the idea here is that they want it in the Constitution. It is a right. With that right, then you can't get close to it. You couldn't put health and safety requirements on it, or you don't want to get too close to it. And then they would make it so that your taxpayer dollars would pay for it. And that is their ultimate goal, is the money.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a deep and full of despair reality that Missouri could be heading in. And I live in the state of Illinois, and it's like the destination. J.B. Pritzker's, the only reason people come to Illinois is to get abortions and to get weed, and they leave because they have common sense. In Missouri, they're trying to do the same thing to this red state. So just to be clear on this amendment, is there an amendment number? Is there a way to identify what amendment this will be on the ballot? And to be clear,
3.
Amendment 3 is a vote no. Is that the way I understand it correctly? So it could be very clear.
That's right. This Amendment 3 is a very damaging and a very extreme abortion and transgender type of a question. It is very extreme for Missouri.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you shining the light on this and coming onto our show to discuss it more. And it's going to be a hot topic for the next 77 days as voting starts to open. And I hope that you'll come back and discuss the progress on this with us here on our station. We would love to have you back.
Oh, I'd really like to come back. I know this is going to morph and change. Once they get up on TV, we'll be talking about how they're ads are deceitful, or any postcards you might get. Just like a campaign, right? We're getting closer to November, and my advice is don't fall for it. It's a crass way to get more business for the abortion industry. That's what it is.
Well, we appreciate you, and it's a
Thank
big
you.
vote no on Amendment 3 for Missouri. Absolutely. We appreciate the conversation today. Thank you, and we look forward to having you back.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. The Midwest Regional Director at Susan B. Anthony, SBAProlife.org, Sue Liebel. Great to have her on the show to talk about this. Man, sometimes these issues, they make me so angry to talk about because of the willfulness of the pro-abort lobby and how evil it is in my mind. I mean, there's no other way to explain it. It's just evil. Missouri, please, please, please be active on this issue and get the word out. How absolutely aggressive this amendment will make abortion access available in the state of Missouri should it pass. I'm going to take a quick break. Let's talk a little bit about the poll. When we return, how would an RFK Jr. partnership with Trump impact the election? Is it going to help Trump, help Harris, or no impact? There's breaking news on this with RFK Jr., and I will give you that headline and that story with Ryan Wiggins and Brad when we come back. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
When you are in that transitionary period or it's just set in, you're like, I need to retire. I'm ready. You had that day at work and you've been waiting for this day to happen. You like what you do. You like the money you're making. You're ready to retire. And you're like, I'll just work until I know one day it's time to go. And you've hit that moment. And now you need to make sure that you've got all your ducks in a row before you exit stage left or right. That's the Retirement Advisory Group. That's what they do. They help you transition. They help you move from working to retirement with a big exhale of, I did it, and I provided for myself, and I know what's coming next. When you work with Bob and Tammy Kershaw and you partner with Thomas Helbig, you are getting the best team in the business. They've never had a client lose a penny, and you could be the next one to sign up with them to make sure you make all the smart moves to make that transition completely stick the landing. You can have a free conversation with them. When you leave, there's zero obligation to do anything, but you have the talk and you learn what you can learn from them. And then you make a decision if you want to sign up after that. 314-993-9494, 314-993-9494. Reach out to Bob and Tammy Kershaw and Thomas Helbig at the Retirement Advisory Group and start that conversation today. RetirementKey.com.
If you have a problem with the IRS, believe me, it's not going away on its own. The IRS never gives up. They have endless resources, so they control the game. Well, your tax problems can end. I'm attorney Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm, a local tax resolution firm with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. I've handled thousands of IRS cases over the last 15 years. So when you hire me, you won't be speaking long distance or sending money to some TV pitchman that's riddled with consumer complaints. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and I'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it will cost. So call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120. Or go to Lance, DRURYlaw.com. If you have IRS issues, you need a local attorney. You need me, Lance Drury.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
Well, the poll today is about RFK and his partnership with Trump, the potential
for such. How would an RFK Jr. partnership with Trump impact the election? Would it help Trump? Would it help Harris? Would there be no impact? Annie mentioned that there's breaking news. She's going to share that in just a minute. Stick around. It is 1:44. And by the way, you find that poll by typing in Annie Fry into YouTube, and you can vote. 1:45 now. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
You've got thoughts. Did you know you also have a microphone? Listen to 97.1 on the Odyssey app and click the microphone to leave a voice message. Whatever's on your mind, let us know by clicking the microphone in the Odyssey app. This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back. We got a Fox News alert here. According to Fox News, independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. plans to address the nation about his path forward in the presidential race this Friday. That is what our YouTube poll is about. Speculation was swirling around the issue. Now we have a little bit more concrete info. Kennedy's press secretary, Stephanie Spear, posted the announcement about, quote, the present historic moment and his path forward on social media on Wednesday afternoon. The announcement comes after Kennedy's running mate, Nicole Shanahan. Remember her?
I do.
No.
Well, only because of news this week.
What color hair does she have?
Dark.
I think she does.
It's like dark brown.
Good for you, boys.
Thank you.
What's her middle name?
Brendan.
The announcement comes after Kennedy's running mate, Nicole Shanahan, blasted Democrats on Tuesday, saying she, quote, fully supports a role for Kennedy in a future Trump administration. Shanahan also hinted that they could end their campaign and back former President Trump and future President Trump.
And future President Trump.
Future President Trump. Shortly before the announcement, Amaryllis Kennedy, Kennedy's daughter-in-law, and campaign manager emailed campaign staff, quote, for the last 19 months, 22 months for the original core, this team, this family has worked 7 days a week, 10 plus hours a day in blizzards and blazing heat, sacrificing family time, personal commitments, and any hope of sleep in service to our shared vision for this country. Never in all these months has Robert F. Kennedy Jr. sidestepped his movement to communicate his heart through back-channel leaks. Nor would he ever, especially in this most consequential moment for us all. So please, hold tight until you hear directly from him. End quote.
Okay, we will.
Friday. We will hear it Friday.
Now,
Please, noon to 3.
yeah.
Just do it during my show.
You know what'd be great? Right at about, get done with the 1 o'clock guest.
I think Mark Reardon
1:48
has made a deal with people.
No.
Yes. All this stuff happens right when it's either going to be that or it's going to be during Kilmeade. I'm starting to take this personally.
As long as they don't do it at 12:45.
Because that's Wiggins America.
That's Wiggins America.
Well, I don't think it's going to be Kennedy's America. Actually, I think it'll be more Kennedy's America after Friday than it ever was going to be.
I do too. So the Twitter chatter is that he is headed to Arizona and that Trump is doing a rally in Arizona on Friday. So I just don't know there.
The YouTube poll for today, I would love to hear from people in the comments who are RFK Jr. voters.
Absolutely.
I want to know from you what this means to you, because you might go, there is no way in heck that I'm supporting Donald Trump. And you might say, and there is no way in heck that I'm voting for this corrupt Democrat Party. I don't know what you do then, but I would love to know what your thoughts are on the issue and if what RFK Jr. says he's going to do influences what you might do. In fact, is Abby out there right now?
Yes.
314-241-9797. I only want to talk to people who are RFK Jr. voters. So this is not like an open call, and I don't know how many of y'all listen out there are RFK Jr. voters. That might be part of the problem.
Yeah, maybe.
But if you are an RFK Jr. voter, 314-241-9797, call us. I got like 5 minutes, so this is very short, sweet, and may not even come to fruition. What do you think about him dropping out, partnering up with Trump. 314-241-9797. RFK Jr. voters only, please, Abby.
Now, you probably already know this. I was not an RFK Jr. voter, but I am an undecided voter.
I am undecided.
And the problem is I'm politically homeless because I was
Because everybody keeps kicking you out.
Well, they took my candidate off.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to vote for Joe Biden, and then I was been riding with Biden for years, and then they took him off the ballot, and I don't like Kamala Harris. She's too far left. So I'm kind of in neutral right now. I don't know what to do. And I'm leaning Trump just because Kamala is just so far left.
How are you going to go on with this?
Until somebody calls.
I don't
know.
Just
Yeah.
because people call doesn't mean we're taking their calls. They'd have to be RFK Jr. So you don't need to ramble until we get the right call.
Okay, I'm done then.
Do you think, what's your answer to this poll? How would an RFK Jr. partnership with Trump impact the election?
It's a huge help for Trump. I'm a hard help Trump on this poll.
Brad, do you agree?
No, I don't agree 100%. I think that it helps Trump.
97%?
But I don't think it's a huge
97.1%?
help. I think maybe 1% or 2%.
The reason I think that this helps Trump so much is that there are a lot of people who probably feel like, you know what, I don't want to vote Democrat in this election, all the stuff about Biden Harris, but I also don't want to be associated with Trump. This gives you cover, if you're in that category, to say, I wasn't going to vote for Trump. I was RFK, but then he went into Trump's camp, so I ended up there. I think there's a good contingency of people that will apply to.
Well, I think there's a contingency of people out there that like what RFK has to say, and they're going to look at this and go, based on what sort of position he would get in a Trump administration, seriously, don't we want to see a Kennedy in charge of the CIA or the FBI or something?
I don't know that I necessarily. I is that fun in our talk show world? Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. But is RFK Jr. the best man for the job to run the CIA of all of the people who Donald Trump could put there? I don't know.
Yeah, he is.
You think he is?
No, I have no idea, but you're right. It would be fun.
Is he qualified?
I don't know. I like some of the things that he's said about the administrative state and how these organizations are run and how they should be run, but I don't know that means that he's the guy.
Do you give him the CIA?
I don't know. I trust that if he were in the running for that position, that if he were chosen, it wouldn't be a political decision. That if he actually got chosen for that position, it would be by a bunch of people who said, yeah, actually, he is the best guy for this.
Well, what do we want from the CIA? And can an RFK deliver that in an administrative way? I mean, he doesn't necessarily have to be a person that is like a super spy or have that background or even a law enforcement background to know how an organization should run and what they should be focusing on and what they shouldn't be focusing on. And I think that if you look at RFK, I think that he could do that. He could point to this and be like, why are we surveilling these people? These are just American citizens. Why are we looking at Catholic churches?
Can you cue this up maybe just 2 minutes before, or not even 2 minutes, 60 seconds before? Donald Trump is speaking in Asheboro, North Carolina right now. And 314-241-9797. Abby's combing through these callers to make sure we get a good one. Donald Trump, he's surrounded by bulletproof glass now. New addition to the outdoor stage. His first outdoor rally since he got shot in the head. They put him behind. He looks like he's in a cage of bulletproof glass. And he's on the stage. Let's just cue it up. Are you good? He's on the stage, and I'm watching kind of him speak. And, we can take these Trump speeches, but there are going to be a lot of Trump speeches, and they're going to sound very similar. He's looking over his left shoulder into the crowd behind this bulletproof glass, and then he just walks off the stage.
To get here, so I understand it. Take your time, doctor. Take your time. Thank you.
So, Brad, tell us what you're seeing.
So right now he's looking over his shoulder behind him, and now he's, they're clapping. I'm not sure what's going on in the crowd because you can't really see it. You can see an airplane in the background. But he's staring intently over his left shoulder at somebody in the crowd. And
So he's done this before.
Take your time, please.
When it gets hot outside, maybe somebody passes out. I've been at these rallies. He's
walking off now.
So he's walking off the stage, away from his bulletproof glass right now, down the steps. And then he walks up to check on the person who passed out from behind the bulletproof glass.
I didn't even know about the pass. I thought this is just a baller move. He's surrounded by glass for the first time ever, and he's like, yeah, here we go. Just walking out of it.
Yes, and the Secret Service is probably
They're like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, like on the screen, you can see that they're like shoulder to shoulder behind him, but he's definitely leaning over into the crowd, over one of those railings that they have set up. When you go to a Trump event, there's a two large seating arrangements to the left and to the right over his shoulder.
We've sat in them.
Yes. And sometimes there's one in the back. There's not at this one. There's a view of an airport.
All right. Well, we heard him ask.
Let's listen to the report.
Trying to clarify what the crowd was asking for, and it appears that call was answered, and the former president has wandered over there with Secret Service in tow, John, to check out what's going on.
Yeah, a lot of times in these outdoor events, because people have been standing around for a long time, it's 75 degrees right now in Asheboro, but it's a sunny day. The president just wanted to check to make sure that person's okay.
All right, looks like he'll continue now.
So then Donald Trump ends up walking back to the podium and
2 days, 3 days early, and it's a lot of stress. We lose them. The only ones we don't lose are front row Joes. I don't know what they have going. They have something going here, Governor.
He's always talking about these people who are in the front row. We can take it down now. So they're attending to this person. We've sat there in those, and when we went, Brad, to the one in Mendon, Illinois, it was 100 degrees outside.
Oh, my gosh.
It was so hot. We were, like, taking water bottles. I mean, it was oppressive. And the place was packed. Tens of thousands of people there to see him. And it becomes oppressive. You said 75 degrees. You're in the sun. You're standing. You lock your legs. Hopefully it's someone who just passed out from something like that and not something more. But it just caught my eye. I'm just watching him, keeping my eye on the idea that he's talking, he's giving his speech. I kind of read the headlines that come across the bottom. Maybe he talked about RFK Jr. or whatever, so we can go to that news if that were to happen to break, because RFK is going to be speaking on the state of his campaign on Friday. We have just broken that news. And I'm watching it, and all of a sudden he's looking over his shoulder, and then he just wanders off the stage. I'm like, get behind the glass. Get back behind the glass. And then he just walks up to somebody in the crowd. So this is not superhuman. But it is human. And that's what they have taken from him, is his humanity. When we come back, we're deep diving Theo Von, Donald Trump conversation.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I am.
Theo Von is one of my favorites, bucket list guest for this show, if we could ever get him on. He interviewed Donald Trump, and if you know who Theo Von was, he was 100% true to Theo Von the entire time he was sitting down with the man who he called Donald. We'll be right back.
Del Walmsley and the Wealth Cycle.
This is the wealth cycle that I've taught for 30 years. Buy one house, 10 houses, an apartment, 2 apartments, 8, 20, 500 units, 1,000 units, 2,000, 5,000 units. And as you keep putting the money and the profits back in, you become one of those rich people. And much quicker than you'd even believe.
Learn Dell's Wealth Cycle at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Use promo code 2024. Save 60%. Code 2024. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com.
Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? Trust Overhead Door Company of St. Louis to keep your garage door reliable. Maybe the old weather stripping needs replaced to keep out the cold and hot air. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, trusted here since 1926. For same-day service, call 314-781-5200 and schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Just saw a comment in our YouTube chat, said my sister or sister-in-law, I think, has got the spiders. Who's that person that Annie talks about who can get rid of the pests? And I said, that's Point Pest Control. They got rid of my spiders, and they can get rid of yours or your sister-in-law's sisters-in-law. Some dad texts me. He'll tell me. You can make sure that you take care of your pest problem with Point Pest Control. Missouri or Illinois, they're there to help both sides. They have absolutely been saviors for us in our home to eliminate the spiders. It was wolf spiders, right? I don't want to say it wasn't brown recluse. It was wolf spiders, and they were awful, and they're dead now. And that makes me so happy and I sleep well because of Point Pest Control. When you call Point Pest Control, I told them on the chat as well, make sure you drop the Annie name because you're going to save money when you do. 10% off whatever their best special is they have going on right now. Drop the Annie name in there and you're going to save that 10%. Whatever the pests are, get them gone with Point Pest Control. 636-798-0023. PointPestControl.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
He's back on an outdoor stage on Lisa Brady, Fox News.
North Carolina. I love North Carolina. I love them.
Former President Trump behind bulletproof glass at a rally in Asheboro, the first major outdoor event since the assassination attempt last month. Just telling the crowd, former President Obama and wife Michelle took personal shots at him last night in their convention speeches for Vice President Kamala Harris.
Well, you know, they always say, sure, please stick to policy, don't get personal. And yet they're getting personal all night long, these people. Do I still have to stick to policy?
Trump also pouncing on a new government report revising the number of jobs created down by more than 800,000 for the year ending in March.
She gets 4 more years, you're going to see jobs vanish. Millions and millions will vanish, and inflation will completely destroy our country.
He calls the Democrats' convention in Chicago a charade, with more time spent talking about him than key issues. Night 3 of the DNC in Chicago belongs to Harris's running mate Tim Walz. Former President Bill Clinton and former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi will also speak. Independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. now plans to speak Friday after running mate Nicole Shanahan told Fox News at Night he may drop out of the race and that the thought process isn't easy.
It's a really hard decision, and we don't come to this moment lightly.
Also accusing the Democratic Party of sabotage.
They've done everything they can, including creating PACs to prevent us from being able to have ballot access.
Shanahan also says she would fully support a role for Kennedy in a Trump administration, but there's no confirmation at this point that he plans to suspend his campaign or endorse Trump. Kennedy's press secretary says he will have an announcement Friday about the present historic moment and his path forward. America is listening to Fox News.
Seems like there's more identity theft in the news every day.
Another major healthcare breach was reported today, resulting in the exposure of
1 in 4 consumers have been a victim of identity.
That's because there are endless places that could accidentally expose you to identity theft, in a breach, or simply by mistake. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Mommy, want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with DayQuil VapoCool. It's DayQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is DayQuil VapoCool.
DayQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
More great weather as we go through our Wednesday afternoon. Doesn't get much better than this in August. Sunny and nice, 79. Tonight, clear skies, a drop through the 70s this evening, 58 for the cool overnight low. Thursday, sunny, still nice, 81 degrees. Friday, sunny, beautiful morning. Warmer Friday afternoon, 90, 92 Saturday, 95 Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Air Comfort Service, they understand and they do their business in ensuring that you stay in your comfort zone. And your comfort zone, August is still a hot month. August can still be pretty hot outside at any given day. So can September. But you're starting to get in. You're wearing your sweaters, aren't you? Like I am, just to will the cooler weather to show up. This is kind of one of those times where it's a good time to call Air Comfort Service because while the hots aren't super hot and the colds aren't super cold, if you need any maintenance done, tune up, if you haven't had your HVAC unit looked at recently at all, get Air Comfort Service out there to do a look over of it, to do a tune up, to make sure that you don't get saddled with some very costly repairs that could have been sidestepped by good regular maintenance. They have maintenance plans as well that you can sign up with that offer you the 12th month free if you sign up for that monthly maintenance plan. And you can learn all about it online by going to 314-513-0091 and visiting aircomfortservice.com.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility in this election year? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 38 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
St. Louis City SC and Schnucks are teaming up for a week-long food drive now through August 25th. Visit your local Schnucks to donate non-perishable food items benefiting Operation Food Search. And join us Wednesday, August 21st at the DePere Schnucks to donate and be one of the first 150 people in line starting at 3 p.m. to meet City SC players. Join the effort to help City SC and Schnucks fight hunger in our region. Find out more at stlcitysc.com.
Rosetta Stone is the expert in language learning for more than 30 years. Right now, Eye on Travel listeners can get Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership of 25 languages for 50% off. Visit rosettastone.com/radio today to purchase and learn for life.
You've got thoughts. Did you know you also have a microphone?
Hello, and thank you for calling the DNC. No one can answer the phone right now because the lights are on, but nobody's home.
Let us know by clicking the microphone in the Odyssey app.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Do either of you guys wear smartwatches?
No.
Do you?
I have a Fitbit, but it's like a very basic one.
Does it tell you to get off your butt and be more active?
No, it's never told me that.
Mine's super rude.
Is it?
It offends me every day, and it's even worse. Like just right when the music started playing, I was sitting to my right about 6 inches because I was working on my stuff over here, and then I scooted back over so I could be in front of the mic and be on my computer over here, and it buzzed, and I looked at it and it said, "Good job, way to stay active."
Really?
Yeah, I moved. I shuffled in the chair 6 inches. Is the bar that low? I'm a pretty active person.
Huh. That's interesting because I have that same watch and it always says, "Hey, you are hot."
That's not what it says. It's probably taking your temperature.
Well, I assume that it meant physically, but you might be right now that I think about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't do it in the winter as much.
We should have had this conversation off air.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's strike this from the record.
Do you know who Theo Von is?
Only because of you guys.
What do you know about him? I
know that he's a podcaster. I don't even know that. I think he's a podcaster.
He's 44 years old, born in 1980. I think he's an incredibly interesting dude, and I feel like I know him from somewhere. Like I tried to research him, and did I go to college with him or something? Like there's something about him that seems super relatable, and I've never really been able to place it. So maybe I just knew somebody like him. His name is Theodore Kapitani von Kurnatowski III.
Ah, number 1 and 2 were taken, huh?
That's the name you get that by not nature but nurture makes you a funny person.
I don't know. Hans von Spakovsky's a name that really sticks too.
He's not at the third.
But you're right, he's not a third.
He might be.
We don't know.
I think he's like, isn't he royalty somewhere or something?
I mean, I assume.
I mean, on the Annie Fry Show, obviously.
All right, clearly.
Theo is an American stand-up comedian, podcaster, actor, and former reality television personality. And his podcast, which I've watched many times, I watched a full Tucker Carlson podcast with him, which I think was over 2 hours. I watched the whole thing.
Is he that interesting?
Yes.
Does he have a mullet?
Yes.
Is he like just a bro?
Is this 20 questions?
No, this is just 3.
Is he just a bro? What do you mean by that?
Does he come off as the everyman?
I feel like every friend group has a Theo Von, but he's the best Theo Von.
Okay.
Is that fair? You want to be around him. You want to hear what he says next.
Because, yeah, I know that guy.
Because he's...
I think I might be that guy. No?
When he speaks, first of all, he says things in situations that people don't normally say. And he says them in ways that people don't normally say them. But I'm going to play some clips here from this interview with Donald Trump. And it's from his YouTube channel. And I am imploring you to spend the hour to go watch the full video of his conversation with Trump. Because there are, if Donald Trump came in here, which he's totally welcome to do, to have a conversation with us, I would handle myself in a particular kind of way.
Yeah.
Theo Von doesn't have that compulsion. He's Theo Von. And it's not bad, but it kind of like, I was leaning into it, being like, how's Donald Trump going to handle this? He calls him Donald. He calls him homie. He makes jokes throughout the course of, he also has gives off this aura of being nervous. It's almost like Zach Galifianakis in Between Two Ferns in a way, but it's for real and it's genuine. I'm pretty certain. And the conversation was great. We have some like our biggest fans on the Annie Fry Show who show up every day in the YouTube chat. They don't like Trump, but they love us and we love them and their help with the algorithm. They were like slamming the Theo Von conversation with Trump. I hadn't brought it up. Maybe somebody else brought it up, but they were slamming it like, oh, what, more conversations with Donald Trump and Theo Von about cocaine use? Is that what the kind of conversation you want Kamala Harris to participate in? And it's like Kamala Harris was on, what was it, The Breakfast Club or something like that, bragging about, did you smoke weed? Yeah, I smoked weed. And I inhaled. Like, oh, okay. Like,
oh, did you inhale?
Just, seems important for you that we know that. Got it. In this interview, Theo Von, who has talked many times about having addiction problems, alcoholism, cocaine, like hardcore stuff, gone through some things. He talks about it as a podcaster. This is what people do on podcasts, is they are super open and genuine most of the time. Sometimes it's a ruse. And Donald Trump famously has never had a sip of alcohol, doesn't smoke, hasn't done drugs, doesn't have any experience with that. He's just a super clean guy in that realm. And so one of the things that were discussed there, I find it interesting that we have a conversation about drug usage, alcohol abuse, something that every American knows somebody who struggles with this issue if they don't struggle with it themselves. It's incredibly common. And Donald Trump's attentiveness to Theo Von while he's talking about it, and also him talking about his brother Fred, who he's talked multiple times. He said his brother was much older, struggled with these issues, and his brother said, don't do it. Don't drink alcohol. Don't smoke. Don't do drugs. Don't do it. And Donald listened to Fred and didn't do it.
Yeah, Donald Trump, Don Jr. actually said it was one of the only things that his dad told him consistently. He goes, listen, whatever you're going to go out and do tonight when you're a teenager, 20s, whatever, don't do drugs and don't drink.
Yeah.
Have fun. Don't do drugs.
And I don't know, personally, I don't know if Donald Trump's kids abide by
I don't either.
His prudeness on those issues, but Donald Trump certainly has.
Yeah.
So they're talking about these issues, and yes, there's Theo Von doing Theo Von things here, but Theo Von is actually talking to Donald Trump about issues that really do matter to Americans. And the thing that I find really interesting about it is Theo Von is asking about these issues the way if you went to your next kid's soccer game and counted to 10 people and took the 10th person was like, you got to ask Donald Trump about what you know about opioids. This is what it would sound like, which I think is relatable and humanizing to Donald Trump, which again is the most dangerous thing that could happen.
Alcoholism and addiction is something that's really ramped up, even like you're saying, like in the past 20, 30 years in our country, right? And during the opioid epidemic, they estimate that like almost 600,000 people died.
Yeah.
And that doesn't even include the broken hearts and the deaths of families and circles of trust, all, you know, just people that lost a brother. It doesn't even include the actual, the siblings,
right?
Or, you know, and so the ripple effect of that is huge.
So I'm going to interject here. What Theo Von just said there is legit. And is ripping apart families across this country right now. The opioid problem and what it has done to the people that the addiction has ravaged and everybody attached to them, that's real. Pay attention. And the reason why I highlight this is pay attention to the lefties out there who just want you to think that the only part of any of this that happened is the pretty hilarious part coming up here where Theo Von takes a turn and talks about his own cocaine use. It's just his phrasing. It's the way he delivers the message. They're going to boil down this conversation with Theo Von to be something flippant that isn't serious because they don't want you to look, again, what I talked about at the beginning of the show, the full context. Because there is substance here. You can watch the full context of the DNC. I've been doing it as much as I can. And they have no substance. They've got nothing. Theo Von has more substance in his conversation with Donald Trump here than the entire DNC put together.
And there's that Sackler family that pretty much got away with it. You know, they had a financial slap on the wrist, but we're one of the only countries that allows drug advertisements and pharmaceutical companies to advertise on television. Like, what do you think are things that you can do to help curtail that when you get into office?
So, well, we did a great job. Does
that make sense or not?
Yes,
that question?
It does make sense. And we had committees, blue ribbon committees in certain cases, but committees that would meet. The big problem we have is, you know, fentanyl is probably the biggest. Opioid is bad. Opioid is bad too.
Yeah.
I think that's bad because everyone thinks, you know, in many cases, they think they're going to do away with pain. And literally the time is so short. If you take it for like 2 weeks, you're almost addicted to it. It's incredible when you
well, all of that is horrible. But
how
why do we allow
how
that
did you get addicted? How did?
No, I would just do cocaine. That was really, So not just,
That's down and dirty, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it was,
But you don't anymore?
No, I don't do it anymore, man, and I'm not doing it.
Is it too much? Too much to handle?
Some of the stuff started to get a real rattle in it, too. I don't know where we were even getting it from in this country, but yeah, it started to make me feel like I was a mechanic or something.
So the thing you go back to then is alcohol for the most part.
Right, yeah, but what I want probably is cocaine, but I know that if I have a drink, then it'll be like, okay, well, I had a drink, then I can do this.
Is cocaine a stronger up?
Yeah. Cocaine
so you're way up with cocaine more than anything else you can think of.
Cocaine will turn you into a damn owl, homie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You'll be out on your own porch, you know, and you'll be your own street lamp. You're freaking.
And is that a good feeling? Well,
no,
it's
horrible.
A miserable feeling.
But you do it anyway, just like the guy you're saying with the scotch. Like you knew it was bad, but you still.
So it's not even good during what would be normally the good time. In other words, oh, wow. So why would you do it?
I wouldn't. That's why I don't.
Yeah, that's terrible.
But it's crazy because that's what alcoholism is, I think. It's that it trumps the why.
Yeah.
It doesn't, and it just, you don't. And you just go to. It's like, so that's why they say that it's cunning, baffling, and powerful. That's what they say about alcoholism.
Yeah.
And it is. It's
which is a bigger problem in our country, would you say?
Opioids.
Bigger than alcohol.
Oh, for sure. I think that's one of the biggest problems.
And compare that to fentanyl?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the problem is people are making fake opioids because they can't afford real ones or they're just getting them off the street and then they put fentanyl in them.
Yeah. Fentanyl's like laced into everything now. It's horrible.
It's horrible. Yeah. They found some in a baby rattle somewhere, I think. I don't even know where that was.
Oh, man. When you Pay attention to this. Pay attention to the people who pull out of that Theo Von clip with Donald Trump. Just the part where he says, when you do cocaine, you'll be out on your front porch like an owl, or whatever he says. He says, you'll be your own street lamp. That's the clip. And Donald Trump is like, wow. They are trying to dumb down this conversation. They're doing this to Theo Von. And Theo Von's a smart guy. I understand he seems super accessible, super down to earth. He knows what he's doing. He is a smart man. He is very much himself and true to himself in this conversation. But that was a good conversation about the opioid crisis. And when you listen to what happens in that conversation, it starts with Theo Von asking Donald Trump, what are you going to do about this? We've got drug companies marketing to people, and then, we're the only country who does that. You can think that's a problem. I think it's weird, honestly, that it always says, ask your doctor about ABCYZ, whatever it is. And I'm like, shouldn't my doctor be saying, you should do that? And then, of course, the doctor says you should do that, and then your insurance says, no, you should do this. Yeah. That's a whole different problem. But what Theo Von does is he actually says, this is a problem. President Trump, if you get into office, what are you going to do about it? And they start to have this conversation. And Donald Trump starts asking Theo Von about Theo Von, and something that is incredibly personal to Theo Von. And when Theo Von starts talking about it, he is wide open and honest about it. And then in that conversation, Donald Trump asks Theo Von, a cocaine addict who's in recovery, as he talked about in there, and an alcoholic, what do you think is the worst thing in this country? And Theo Von says, without pause, opioids. That seemed to be an answer that Donald Trump didn't initially expect. And instead of correcting Theo Von, he asks him a follow-up question and says, can you compare that to fentanyl? And then it turns out they're part of the same problem, that the opioid problem in our country is so big that fentanyl is being brought in to make fake opioids, fake narcotics, or whatever it is that they're doing to try to get the same hit for less money. And this is part of the problem. And this is a conversation that came from Theo Von sitting down and Donald Trump listening and actually asking questions of Theo Von about his personal experience. But the rubes out there, who the worst thing that could happen is you get context. The worst thing that could happen is you spend some of your own time moving a little bit beyond a 15-second clip of Theo Von talking about what it's like to be on cocaine, being an owl or a street lamp out on your own front porch. I mean, in passing, it's amusing because he's saying this in front of a former president of the United States and potentially a future president of the United States. That in and of itself is a moment in time. But it's dismissive of the whole conversation. And I just want you to know, I want you to find these people on your social media timeline and note who they are. Because when they talk about that, they are trying to deceive you. They think you're stupid enough to just take that little clip and dismiss the whole thing because you can't take this guy seriously. Look what he said in front of Donald Trump. But you can't take those people seriously because they know what the full conversation does and they don't want you to watch it. They don't want you to see Donald Trump talking to Theo Von, because watching Donald Trump and Theo Von have this conversation, honestly, on Theo Von's terms, humanizes Donald Trump.
So I hadn't heard that before. It's the first time I'd heard it. I didn't know what we were getting into there. Donald Trump tends to suck the oxygen out of a room. He eats up the time. So the interview asks him a question. He just goes and goes and goes and goes. There's nothing stopping.
No periods on any of his sentences.
Yeah, and it's kind of a strategy, but it's also just kind of what he does. What I found very fascinating about that is that we just talked about how Trump has not done drugs. He's always said he never did drugs. His kids say that's the number one thing he would tell us: don't do drugs. It seems pretty evident that the guy is not a drug user. He sits down with somebody who is, and he just starts asking questions. So I think that's interesting, and it's a character trait of Donald Trump that he does think he's the smartest guy in the room until all of a sudden he realizes this guy knows more than me. And then he stops. And then he asks questions.
And he learns.
And he learns.
Mm-hmm. That's what a wise person does. I want to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into Theo Von's conversation with Donald Trump around what happened to Joe Biden. And it is interesting. And at one point, Theo Von says, what do you think? What do you think they did to Joe Biden? And Donald Trump says, I know what they did to him. And then they start talking about it. I'll bring you that highlight when we come back. Mark Theovan on YouTube. It is well worth the watch. I will say this. It's probably not something you want to watch in front of impressionable eyes or ears. I mean, eyes doesn't matter, but ears. There's some language in there. We have to be careful what we play on the air here, of course, with you. But it is worth your attention. Check out the context and watch all of the people on the left squirm while Theo Von does a wonderful job of humanizing Donald Trump. Quick break. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
I want to talk to you about Lutheran education, elementary schools right here in the St. Louis area, Missouri and Illinois alike, with the best opportunity for your child, for your grandchild, to consider this type of education. Oh my gosh, I could scream it from the mountaintops about how much benefit you and your family will receive from considering a Lutheran school. Go tour one. You can still make that decision. You can still enroll. They are still accepting kids, and they will be throughout the course of the school year. Go to lesastl.org/Annie. That's Lisa with an E, lisastl.org/Annie, and start learning, start perusing their website. Go find out how these 37 elementary schools in the St. Louis area and in the Metro East are serving wonderful education for children just like the one in your life. They have STEM education. They have extracurriculars. They have music programs. They have robotics programs. They have sports of all kinds and very competitive programs. They accommodate with IEPs, and they have resources available for folks like that. And they provide an excellent education that is faith-based in a real-world application situation. Lutheran schools are for you. You can access them. They are affordable. They are within reach. Find out more about the Lutheran school near you, elementary and high school. lesastl.org/Annie.
Summer is here, which means pool days, beach trips, and yeah, you guessed it, traffic jams. Oh yeah, and heat waves. Don't let summer catch you by surprise. Get the local news you need, no matter what you're up to, with the free Odyssey app. And never miss a beat with alerts on breaking stories sent directly to your phone. Listen today on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
Public service announcement from Bart Inman, air conditioning. School starting 2024. So all the juniors and seniors, or possibly even the sophomores. But let's just say if you just know school's not for you because it bores you, trade schools is an option for you. A lot of the high schools have it. For your junior and senior year, you can receive credit upon graduation of high school, get a very, very good job in the trades. When I say very good job, you're building America, you're building the school that you're sitting in, you're building the house that you live in. You get great pride in building something every single day. You don't want to go to college? Pick a trade school. I'm partial to Rankin Technical, so pass this along. If you're not in the trades, or if you're a parent or your grandparent, speak with your child or your grandchild. Remember, boys or girls, the trades are available, and you're not putting your kids in debt for a useless piece of paper. God bless.
Are you ready to smell better naked? I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, the OBGYN creator of Lumi, the whole body deodorant that's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours on pits, feet, privates, and beyond. It's pH optimized to safely and effectively control odor anywhere you have it, but wish you didn't. Plus, it's proven to work better than a shower with soap alone. Whether you shower twice a day or 3 times a week, Lumi works better. And who doesn't want zero body odor? With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I'm so sure you're going to love it, or you can return it for free.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code BETTER and get 15% off your first purchase with code BETTER, like the Lumi Starter Pack, Acidified Body Wash, or new Lumi Plus Sweat Control. That's LUME Deodorant.com, code BETTER for 15% off your first purchase. Love it or return it for free. That's LUME Deodorant.com, code BETTER to save 15% today.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules. Odyssey is your home for all the audio that matters to you. Download the Odyssey app today to listen to 97.1 FM Talk, even when you don't have a radio. Always streaming at 971talk.com.
It's high time.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
And it's a fun to let it all go. I've been too low, so it's high time.
Welcome back. We've been speaking about the Theo Von Donald Trump interview, and I think that these interviews, this and like with the Paul brothers and Aiden Ross, is that right? I don't know anything about him, but I know he's a big deal.
No, I don't know anything about any of these people.
All of these influencers are making me feel dated and a little bit older. Theo Von is our age, so I'm a little more familiar with him. But the influencer world, the podcaster world, has been embraced by the Trump campaign, and I think they're very smart to do that. They're going into areas that wouldn't traditionally, I don't know, talk about these issues. Maybe they talk about them, but you wouldn't think of them as like hotbeds for political commentary. But Donald Trump is sidestepping an agenda-driven media that hates him, lives and eats and sleeps and breathes to hate him, and it works, because if you go through, I was laying in bed last night reading the YouTube comments on this after I watched the video, and some of the things, especially one of the ones that is in this clip coming up here, when they're talking about what happened to Joe Biden and how he all of a sudden got out of the race. Theo Von, to me, is just very funny. And I think that the thing that is the most funny about him is that it's like, he just says things. He's compelled to say things out loud, and he doesn't really change his presentation in the presence of Trump. And there's something about it that I love, that he doesn't change it, and that Donald Trump is there to endure it.
And Trump is good at just sitting down and talking with people. Elon Musk, I mean, we all listened to that one.
Yep.
Elon Musk is not a good interviewer.
No. No, he's not.
It was just a conversation. I wouldn't even call him an interviewer.
I wish that when the next time they do a space like that they would have like a Megyn Kelly come in and do the interview and include like interview Musk and Trump at the same time, or pull in anybody that maybe it's an influencer that moderates the thing that's used to doing it. Pull in me.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. But I mean, just have somebody whose job it is to tee up questions so that you can get answers that the people want to hear.
Yeah. Elon Musk doesn't want to do that because he loves being that guy.
He doesn't need to.
He doesn't need to, but Trump is at, and you know that Trump's succeeding when there's so little to criticize about him doing these things.
All right, let's listen to this is the Theo Von Donald Trump interview podcast. It's on Theo Von's YouTube page. I encourage you to watch the whole thing. You will be glad you did, and read the comments afterwards that are on the YouTube, and go subscribe to our channel while you're there as well. But this is Theo Von. They were talking a little bit about the debate. Donald Trump says confidently, he's like, I did pretty good in that debate. Joe Biden, not so much. That's how he says it. Donald Trump has just gotten done complimenting Jake Tapper and Dana Bash for doing a pretty fair job. And that's something that after the fact, we came on the next day and we're like, they did a good job. They did a fair and balanced job. Now, I think that they were trying to sink Joe Biden's ship the whole time, which is what happens when you're fair and balanced. I don't think it was tilted against Joe Biden at all. But Theo Von is talking about the debate, and then Theo kind of shifts into, the debate happened, and then this was an about face. And he's talking to Donald Trump about what happened
But they
next.
were very even-handed, and it was a great debate, but a very important debate.
Well, after that, it seemed like suddenly everybody had been like, oh, Biden's fine. In America for like 18 months. Like my dad was really old when I was born. My dad was 70 when I was born, right? So I don't like seeing senior citizens take advantage of, right? I felt like that happened a lot when I was a kid. And so I think for me, it reflected on me like, it made me really angry because I was like, I know this guy's not well. It's not fair to pretend that he's well. It's not fair to him because he doesn't know you're pretending, And it just seemed like the cruelest thing you could do. And then we're all kind of supposed to believe this thing that we know is not real. Our media is just saying this is real. And we're all just being gaslit as humans about something that's like moral. Like this is a human man. This is somebody's grandfather. And then they just disappear. He just disappears, and suddenly it's like
it was a coup.
Kamala is the one that went in. What do you think happened in the back rooms there? Because that almost was overnight that happened.
I know what happened, and you're not supposed to do that. It's not supposed to be probably constitutional. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. All of a sudden, they're telling him to get out, or they threatened him.
But who are
and
they
he is
when
an
they say that?
angry person. Well, I would say Schumer, Pelosi, and numerous other people.
I'm going to interject here. Did you see the report recently? Did Donald Trump say something complimentary about Barack Obama?
Yeah, he said something about he's a pretty even guy or something like that.
It was in this day and age, it was nice.
Yeah, especially for Trump.
Like he had the opportunity to say something about Barack Obama and didn't punch.
Yeah.
I think that he's specifically not calling out Barack Obama.
Certainly sounded like it there.
In this, he continues on a little bit more here.
The heads of the Democrat Party.
Yeah.
And they did. They threatened him violently, I think. And he didn't want to get out.
really
Remember, he said, only God will get me out, right? Only God will get me.
Somebody dressed up like God and just chased him out of there.
Yeah, and what happened is they went to him and they said, this was after the debate. Now, if he didn't have the debate, he would still be running.
Yeah. So they set him up. They knew they were going to pull him.
That I don't know. I mean,
so that's the part I just can't get over where he's talking about Donald Trump is saying, and I mean, this is what I expected to happen the whole time. I'm not the only person who thought this. I'm not the only person who could see that they were going to use Joe Biden till he was used up. And when he was used up, they would discard him. And it would be very easy to do, especially we talk about the hypocrisy of everything on the left. And I could go through, you name an issue, I can show you within the Democratic convention where they have contradicted themselves on these particular issues. What is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? What do they all say all the time about taxes? They want people to pay their fair share. Mm-hmm. Joe Biden's literal son did not pay any of his taxes and is in court in September because he didn't pay his taxes and is currently moving for a dismissal from that case because he said he eventually paid him. He paid for hookers and blow instead of paying his taxes. And this is what we're supposed to listen to the guy who's in charge right now and his vice president about paying your fair share. Again, going back to what I said before, you guys go first. You do it first. And then you can start coming to us and asking for us to participate in your version of this system. But it's never rules for thee that you want for me. It's always, this is how it's going to be. Once you meet elitist status and you're on the other side of the elite line, you just get to play by a different set of rules. And then you set a victim mentality for everybody on the other side of the line. And you say there are people who are on the elitist side of this line that you can never be like, and that's not fair. You are the people. Michelle Obama is talking about her mom, who I'm sure was a lovely woman, talking about her mom, saying, they looked suspiciously at people who took more than they need. She's got like 7 homes that are all multi-million-dollar homes. She got like $70 million or something for her book deal.
Yeah.
Hello, McFly. I can't make any sense of being somebody who could so boldly say to everybody on a stage full of all of your party people that my mom looked down on or looked suspiciously at people who took more than what they needed. This is not the American dream. I understand why you hate America in this current version of it, because the idea that American opportunity is limitless, that there's no government-defined, here's the line of what you need, and here's where you went over it. They're telling us in plain words what they're going for. And in this conversation, last night, Kamala Harris was not in the arena. And Jackie Heinrich reported that it felt disrespectful to have Kamala Harris sitting in the arena while Joe Biden is back at the White House and the Obamas are on stage championing her, that it felt like it was a little traitorous for Kamala Harris to be sitting in there, rah, rah, yay, finally something we can be hopeful for, while the Bidens are sitting rotting in the White House because the Democrat Party is done with them. So Kamala Harris went to a swing state and did a rally. That's a report from Jackie Heinrich, and that's what people are saying about it. The Bidens have to be so PO'd. So PO'd. Watching, Michelle Obama's initial speech, start out when she first started talking about, she's like, you could start to feel something in the air, and we haven't felt it for a while, and that thing's called hope. Wow.
Really? No hope? That stinks.
Where has it been? As if the incumbency is the guy on the other side of the ticket. Oh, no. I shall say no again. No. The person on your ticket is in office right now. You get 3.5 years of credit for whatever is going on right now. Yes, even the emotions that people are and are not feeling, which includes hope. So if you want change this time, you got to vote for Trump. Let's hear a little bit more from Theo Von and Trump on the coup.
Paula is the one that went in. What do you think happened in the back rooms there? Because that almost was overnight that happened.
I know what happened, and you're not supposed to do that. It's not supposed to be probably constitutional. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. All of a sudden, they're telling him to get out, or they threatened him.
But who were
and
they
he is
when
an
they say
angry
that?
person. Well, I would say Schumer, Pelosi, and numerous other people. The heads of the Democrat Party.
Yeah. Thugs.
And they did. They threatened him violently, I think. And he
You
didn't
think
want to
they
get out.
really
Remember, he said, only God will get me out, right? Only God will get me.
Somebody dressed up like God and just chased him out of there.
Yeah.
You can imagine. Who would it be? Would it be Adam Schiff? Is it Pete Buttigieg?
The idea of dressing up like God.
Is it John Fetterman?
Does it even look like dressing up in old Greek garments?
I see you're
Or
naming
what?
all these guys. They're Democrats. It would have been Nancy Pelosi.
God is a woman on the left. You know that. I don't think it's Nancy Pelosi. You need to have him be on wheels. So
Yeah,
he
you're
floats.
gendering God by saying he.
Yes, I am. I'm not gendering him. The Bible is. Watch the whole Theo Von interview. You watch the whole Theo Von interview. I want you to watch it and tell me.
It's highly entertaining.
I want you to watch it, and then I just want you to just send me the quotes that made you laugh.
Okay.
Because individually, they're so funny. Theo Von had me cracking up. It's on his YouTube channel. Please go check it out, and happy we could share it with you today. Let's take a quick break. That YouTube live chat poll, we've got 267 votes in it so far. We want to know from you, especially if you're an RFK Jr. voter yourself, what are you going to do? Friday, RFK Jr. has said he's going to update us on the status of his campaign. Ryan pointed out Donald Trump has an Arizona rally on Friday. Do these things all come together? The poll for today is, how would an RFK Jr. partnership with Trump impact the election? Let us know what you think. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Michael's Flooring Outlet online at igotfloored.com. When you're shopping for flooring, let's take the hardwood look. You've got some carpet in your house, you want to rip it out, you want to put something clean down, some hardwood looking floor that is going to really bring your visuals up in your house to a modern look. And you don't really know what all your options are. A lot of people talk about luxury vinyl plank. There are lots of options when it comes to hardwood looks. And you really need to rely on experts who understand the array of technology, of options, of finishes that exist in that kind of flooring that you're looking for. Michael's Flooring Outlet have been doing this for decades in St. Louis as a family-owned and operated business, and we're incredibly grateful on the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 to have partnered with them for so many of those years. If you're interested in the Revwood Select and Plus line, they have a 10-year waterproof warranty, a lifetime all-pet warranty. They've got the solution you need for the problems that you're dealing with in your house or the solutions that you're looking for so that you can invest in a product that is going to last, that is going to make you glad that you said, yeah, I'm glad we went to Michael's Flooring Outlet. Learn more online at igotfloor.com.
Attention, Missouri residents in need of care at home. If you have Medicaid and need assistance with daily activities, you can receive free in-home care from a loved one, funded by Medicaid with no cost to you. Freedom Care, Missouri's #1 home care provider, gives you the power to choose who provides your care, and they get paid instantly. Imagine your daughter, son, a close relative, or trusted friend helping you with cooking, transportation, laundry, and other activities in your own home. You get the help you need, and your caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift. Freedom Care has over 5,000 five-star Google reviews and is #1 in Missouri for in-home care. If you have Medicaid and want great care from a loved one that's 100% free to you, go to freedomcare.com or call 314-557-3027. That's 314-557-3027. 314-557-3027.
COVID-19 has cast a spotlight on the stark inequalities that drive poverty. The poorest communities in the U.S. and around the world are suffering the most. Oxfam believes we can put systems in place to protect health and livelihoods in the future if we work together with dignity and compassion. Learn how you can help offer safety to the most vulnerable and fight for a more resilient future at oxfamamerica.org. Sponsored by Oxfam America.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Marvin Mitchell and the team at Compass Retirement Solutions calls this mailbox money. It's a monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Marvin Mitchell and the Compass Retirement Solutions team at 314-373-1598 to start working on a plan that can help you create the monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call 314-373-1598 right now and schedule a visit with Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
Hints and allegations that the RFK Jr. independent presidential run could partner up with the Republican presidential run for Donald Trump. How would an RFK Jr. partnership with Trump impact the election? That is today's YouTube live chat poll. Let us know what you think. There are 3 options: help Trump, help Harris, or no impact at all. One of those 3 will win today's poll. You can decide which one. 247. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon getting set to go here after Fox News at 3. We'll talk about the latest with the DNC, and Paul Morrow is going to join us at 3:25. Fox News contributor, former NYPD inspector. He is in Chicago monitoring the protest angle. We'll have the very latest. It's all coming up.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We're glad you're here with us today. Who speaks tonight at the DNC? Clinton? Bill?
Good question.
Isn't tomorrow the end of it?
Yeah, tomorrow's Kamala. Oh no, it's Tim Walz tonight.
And Bill.
Okay. Yeah,
I
it's
think.
not just him, but I think he's the headline speaker tonight.
Dude looks old.
It's weird how quickly time has started to erode this campaign because it hasn't been very much time.
I think it's very interesting that the people, the headliners for the Democrat Party are dynasties.
Yeah, they are.
They're political dynasty. Like when people are talking about, swampiness, the old soul of it. I mean, imagine if every if every person who spoke at the RNC was either a Bush or a Reagan.
Yeah, I was trying to think of any dynasties at the RNC. Trump's family itself
The
would be the only
dynasties
one.
at the RNC don't like Trump.
No, they don't.
So
they're not there.
They're not at the RNC. George Bush should get his butt in line and endorse.
Yeah, come on, man.
Donald Trump.
Put yourself aside.
And I say this as somebody who, I'm just trying to make sure everybody who listens to my show gets mad at me today. I really like George W. Bush, and I will always have an affection for him from 9/11. And I was 17 when that happened, so maybe I wasn't as smart as I should be, but there is a part of George W. Bush that I will always respect. But I will also say, be a patriot. Do what's right for your country and stop communism from showing up in the White House and endorse Trump and say, listen, I don't really love the guy. There are things about him that I vehemently disagree with. And he was an a-hole to my brother.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't like any of that stuff, but it is clear the direction that this country has to go in. We have two choices, and one of them will destroy the future of this nation. And it's not worth any amount of emotion that I have to stay on the sidelines. Donald Trump needs to be the next president. And then don't say anything else. Don't do interviews. Don't go out and talk to anyone.
And you don't even have to bash Kamala Harris or Joe Biden or Obama, because that's been Bush's thing. Is he's like, look, I don't want to get involved in bashing presidents, but your counterpart, Barack Obama, was the keynote speaker last night at the DNC. So it's not as if that's unprecedented now. It used to be, but it's not now.
Paul says George W. is considered a rhino, though, isn't he? And this is the type of toxic, Paul, a lot of people think this way, so I don't want to pick on you for saying this, but here I am on my own show saying two things at the same time. That I like George W. Bush. I have a favorable reflection of George W. Bush. That's going to make half of the people who listen to me very frustrated, maybe more. And in the same breath, I'm saying he needs to endorse Donald Trump. There's no tribalism here. There's what we think is best for the country. And I'm using my own brain and I'm coming up with my own perspective on the issue and being willing to say, if you dislike me now because I said something positive about George W. Bush, I will forever see him on that pile of rubble with the smoke billowing behind him and saying, we hear you. I will always remember that moment. And that moment in my emotion, in my mindset, is bigger than a lot of things that are detractors for him. He is not without faults. He made mistakes. He made bad decisions. He did things I wish he wouldn't have done. But I respect George W. Bush. He needs to endorse Donald Trump. And then, if you've got someone from the other side who comes in and been like, oh, but I thought George W. was a rhino. I don't play those games. You can play those games. You can enter in that card, and I will smack it down because it just isn't how we do things here. And I don't think it's how most people talk. I think most normies out there would be like, yeah, George W. Bush, he said funny words. I like the way he rallied America after 9/11. And that's pretty much the extent of it. Then you can talk about wars and all that stuff, and everybody departs to their corners. But there's too much at stake to not step into the fray.
And it makes him seem oblivious to it. Like he really likes the sort of, hey, I'm part of the former president's club now, which is all Democrats and him. That's it. And so he shows up at all these events, and he just looks kind of like he looks a little bit in it for George W. Bush right now because he can kind of skate. He can be cool now. Nobody's really criticizing him anymore. He won't step back into it. dude, this is an opportunity for you to step back into it in a way exactly like Annie said. I like how I feel like I'm talking to George W. Bush. George, listen, level with me here.
Got a great strategy.
You can come up and just do a 5-minute economic talk about how the policies of Donald Trump really do work.
It could be 60 seconds. You
Whatever.
could pre-record it while you're painting a picture of Obama.
Yeah, and then sell the painting for more than Hunter Biden.
Yeah, there you go.
And launder it through 20 shell companies. Go ahead and take a pass on that. We don't have enough time.
The YouTube live chat poll, how would an RFK Jr. partnership with Trump impact the election? Is it going to help Trump, help Harris, or no impact? The news came in the middle of the show today that RFK Jr. is announcing an update. He's going to deliver an update on the state of his campaign on Friday. And Ryan, is that an evening Arizona event for Donald Trump rally?
I don't know the answer to that.
Well, there's the Trump rally in Arizona on Friday. Maybe it'll be in partnership with that. There has been discussion, rumors suggesting that RFK Jr. is in no way, no how going to jump into the Kamala Harris Democrat side of this race, that he would step out and partner with the Trump side. So our question to you, and we want to know, so you can go quick vote. I got like 60 seconds left here. How is this going to affect the race? Brad, what do you think?
I think it's going to help Trump. I don't think it's going to be like a huge boost, but he doesn't need a huge boost. He just needs a little boost for it to be impactful.
Yeah, I think this is a big help Trump. I don't think it's like half Kamala voters, half Trump voters, and then they're going to go their separate ways. I think we have a lot of people in the middle who just don't know where to go, and this gives them cover to say, okay, well, then I will go with Donald Trump because I was with RFK.
So you guys are both help Trump?
Yep.
I think it's going to help Trump. I think every single time someone goes, yeah, I know, but I'm with Trump. Every single time, the ground gets shakier on the left. And for the convention bump to have gotten Kamala Harris to where she is right now, it's not big enough.
No.
She's not likable. Her policies, if she spoke on them, she has spoken on them. We have her words on her policies. They are communistic-like policies. It's not good for the country. And if I encourage you to watch the Democrat convention tonight. I know. I get it. I understand. But watch. And you'll see they got nothing. They got nothing at all. That actually, at the end of me watching all that, and then I watched Theo Vaughn talk to Trump, I'm like, I think we're going to win. We got to win big. Too big to rig, right? Well, we'll see if the RFK Jr. partnership with Trump does help him. We asked you, and you voted. We almost got 300 votes. 6% of you think it's going to help Harris. 17% said no impact. 77% of you think an RFK Jr. partnership with Donald Trump will help Trump. We shall see. Mark Reardon, next.
Your garage door is the largest piece of moving equipment in your home. When it needs help, call the experts at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Their certified technicians repair all brands of doors and openers, and you can even schedule evening and weekend service. Just call 314-781-5200 and always look for the red ribbon. It's your assurance you've got the genuine, the original overhead door, the most trusted garage door company in St. Louis since 1926. For same-day service, schedule online at overheaddoorstlouis.com. 314-781-5200.
At Stifel, we put everything into the success of our advisors so they can put everything into your success. That means more than just building you a portfolio. It means we're invested in you and your future. And it means taking a personalized approach to managing your wealth. That's why Stifel is once again the top-ranked wealth management firm for employee advisor satisfaction. Stifel, where success meets success.
Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
I was actually just talking with Jen Teskey. She is with RE/MAX Alliance. She's the best. Buying and selling home and real estate properties in Illinois, you want the best. And RE/MAX Alliance's Jen Teskey is that. You can call or text her office at 618-541-1010, 618-541-1010. And start that discussion. I have filled out information on my home to see if, what kind of price are we looking for? I don't know how soon I would be able to sell my home. I don't know what is in front of me. I don't know what I need to do to improve my home to get top dollar. Maybe I don't need to improve everything, and there's sight unseen offers coming in above asking. That was happening for a while. Jen Teskey is the guide. She is the person. She's got a team around her with great agents with her, people who are going to make your house look the best, give you the best advice, and be honest with you. That matters the most. Jen Teskey with RE/MAX Alliance at 618-541-1010. You can find her online right now at jenteskeyhomes.com.
There are those who dedicate themselves to a sense of honor.